Hello everyone, Conor here. Just as a small disclaimer, some things we may talk about on the pod shouldn't be attempted or recreated. Remember to keep everything legal, keep it between the ages, and don't tear up the ground while you're on the pull. Well folks, how's you going?
Take two.
You're listening to the Automotive Podcast by Limit Slip Differences, your perfect blend of cars, tractors and everything in between. I'm Conor, and yes, I am reading the intro off my phone, and beside me here is Michael. You're listening to the episode. What episode is it?
This is episode 53.
Alright, definitely a different one. Was the storm called Eowyn?
Aye, something like that. Spelt funny, like.
Aye, definitely. So
we're actually not recording in the shed, as you can probably see. We're actually recording in my house.
Yeah, so why are you sitting forward now?
It's warmer.
Aye, yes, you put me off there with sitting forward. So I'm not gonna lie, like, see, whenever the microphones are in the stand, like, you're not really put off by it, and I feel like, do you mind the time that we were recording and I kept fucking looking up and down all the rest? I'm now not self-conscious, now conscious that the camera is.
As the camera's closer, first of all, that we can see the screen and we're holding the mics.
Like, if you're listening to Spotify, this doesn't make any fucking sense. But
yeah, if you're looking at, and Spotify, basically, to explain it, we are very close to the camera. We're sitting on a sofa, which is grand, it's comfy,
yes,
but it's completely different to how we record, and we're holding the mics.
Or the fact that you're having to, like, move your hands flat out here, so I look like I'm like, oh my god. And then
you're actually trying to get out of the screen as well. It's probably not fully centralised. We'll probably have to do something with that, but yeah. So Storm Eowyn has fucked us in the way that.
Oh dear, I need to turn that down a wee minute.
Connor's just got a notification through his phone. So Storm Eowyn has fucked us. We can't use the same thing. We can't use the podcast shed at the minute, so not that there's any damage done to it, thankfully, but
is there no damage done to it?
No, there's no damage done to that. Not that shed. Other sheds weren't so lucky.
Yeah.
Have you had any damage done by storm?
Well, the storm, we had a red warning from 7 to 2, wasn't it? Or no,
it was 7 a.m. right through to 7 p.m, was it not?
No, 7 a.m.
Sorry, it was, you're right, 7 to 2. But it kicked off earlier. Started at about 4:30.
So, the timeline of events for myself was, we had agreed at home we'd get up and milk earlier than normal, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know baller, I suppose. It was more the fact of, if the electric goes off, we're fucked.
Yep.
We didn't know if it would go off or not. We didn't know how obviously bad it would be, because obviously everybody was saying this is a once in generation storm, but we didn't actually know how bad that would be.
Yes.
It's obviously going to be pretty bad, but yes. So, basically, my father, he said he woke up at 4, and I looked outside, and he was like, holy actual blue fuck.
I was up at 4:30, and it was mental.
He was going to say, we'll go out now and milk, and be milked for, say, 6.
Yeah.
They was like, no, look, I'll chance it anyway to 5. So I was out about 5:15 or so.
Yes.
Very early, not very early. Early for me, but not typically early for maybe for some people. And we'd milked, I think, for 7:05 or so. Basically just like got the bare essentials done. And then we were like, sure, we'll go in and we'll ride out. But see, whenever I went in, so obviously the computer had actually updated itself during the night, or else the electric had went off. Someone on the two, you can't mind. So I had to go up and turn that on. But the actual tin roof that is over the old parlour building, I am not going to lie, it was rattling like fuck. Go down into the parlour, and the tin that's basically, so the old parlour roof is obviously your peak, and then there's a smaller peak off of it. So the tin that was facing down to the old building, like, it was rattling like fuck. Like, the perspex was bouncing up and down. This, like, I'm talking like at the very edge of it, you know, just where the wind was gathering. So not gonna lie, it was sort of shitting it.
I was breaking it.
You know,
especially as I don't live at home. The farm's obviously down, like, well, it's 0.7 of a mile down the road. I was sitting here lying in bed, like, panicking about one of the roofs in our shed, like, and it did. Thankfully, it didn't collapse in too much, but it's broken all the wood and it's just hanging there. But the problem is we can't get at it because there's cattle in the shed.
True. Well, you put them out into the yard, but at the same time, it's funny the way the actual direction of the wind for the last storm that we got, the way it was blowing, like you could have said the way it was blowing, bins, everything went fucking everywhere, and that was just sort of a bit of, nothing blew off, but like there was fucking rubber mats from the cubicles that were taken off, and they were sort of around the garden and that. So stuff like that, you know.
Well, Storm Dara bent two of my doors.
Oh, there you go.
In the last one, so I was taking no chances. I parked your dump trailer against one of them, and parked my other wee Fraser against the other one.
Well, sure. Same. Well, I put all the cars into the shed, all the bins into the shed, just for, like, put it this way, whenever your wheelie bin gets blown over, and especially recycling, and it's not heavy stuff. Excuse me and Gemma spent probably a guts of an hour and a half to 2 hours on that Sunday, walking up and down the lane, in through the field and all, just lifting scrap.
Well, I actually ended up with a bit of a hand overhead of a bin in my Amarok, so I put everything between Wednesday night and Thursday night. I put everything indoors, even the Amarok. So because Friday I just said to my boss, I was like, look, I'm not coming in, and he was like, yeah, no, that's completely fair, understandable. So like I put the Amarok in the shed, but the shed I put the Amarok in, there's a bin sort of in that shed too, and the door doesn't close in that shed properly.
What shed's that?
Beside where the slurry tanker sits, where I fed the cattle.
Oh, you put the Amarok and all in that?
It's the only place I could put it. I wanted to put it in the hay shed, but the Sierra and the Mapro, I couldn't get that. Amarok was too long to put in front of it.
Fair enough.
So I had to put the tractor in front of the Mapro, and then the Mapro normally sits in that other shed, but so I put the Amarok in it just because the Mapro, well, battery wouldn't start. So yeah, had to put the tractor in front, so swap the tractor and the Amarok around basically. And I was like, look, I should have coped that bin, and then I was like, nah, do you know what, it'll be alright, it's far enough back, because I put the Amarok like really far back in the shed. I came in the next day to look, and the bin had coped, and I was like, no, please don't tell me, no. I went up and looked to the side of the Amarok. You could see the faintest mark where the bin had fallen, but I'd say when the bin just went bang, straight down, on, like, didn't move at all. There's the tiniest wee smallest scuff that you could probably take out with a buffer. I got so lucky. So I was like, Jesus Christ. And then, as I say, with a few sheds there with the tin blown off, the shed that the Amarok was parked in, the side walls actually starting to go on it. Like, you can see the roof's fine, the side wall's moving in and out. And it's like, that's going to be fixed.
Lovely.
Aye, so there's a right bit of,
like,
the biggest one is that beef house is the shed, the roof collapsing, and like it's not.
See, where silo being roofed.
Yes.
Thankfully, we didn't put tin the full way down between the roof and the walls.
Allowed the wind to go through.
The one so the one had somewhere to escape because, well, then that long shed protected the yard to a certain extent because there was like a couple of empty drums, and they didn't go anywhere, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it was good enough that way. But it's funny with the direction of wind. Storm Dara was the last one around before Christmas or something.
Before Christmas, 7th of December. So,
essentially, whenever we got back from your tractor being dynoed and that, I mean, I wasn't in bed 10 minutes to actually get picked up.
Yeah,
and like
that's right.
The window, obviously, windows must be designed to flex slightly and all that with wind. Yeah, I could hear the rattle and thought the window was coming in around me, but it was because of the force of the wind was actually hitting the window.
Well, Storm Dara, I was driving to the tractor run on the 7th. That's how I know the date was the 7th for Storm Dara. And like literally, I was watching the trees shaking, and the amount of damage done by Storm Dara in terms of trees falling was unbelievable. Storm Aaron was just another level. Like,
I sure the sports dome in Mayo is no longer.
Oh,
the aerodrome. Basically a GA pitch covered with a massive, you know, like,
I think I heard about
inflatable
that,
dome. I know it,
and it's now gone.
It's just like this dome. It just looks like a GA pitch in the open now.
Oh, right.
Which is kind of fucking mad altogether.
It's mental.
Yeah, this is still so strange to hold microphones.
Well,
the only thing good though is if I'm breathing, just do that.
I have done that. I've done that a couple of times. But on top, so outside of storm damage, has there been anything else?
So, my old daily is no longer with me. Good mate of mine, Paul, went and worked in England, that with him. His brother, I think it just whatever circumstances he was needing a car.
Yes.
And mine essentially happened to come up at the right time. So she's brave mileage and all on her, but they've taken a chance on her and that there.
To be fair, with the wheels and the radio and all on her, like
it's not even that.
In the good enough
funny, like Stephen sent me a message and he was just like thanks very much and all that there, and he was like, he couldn't get over how well it drove for the miles it was on it. He was like, this doesn't drive.
It was a good driving car. I remember driving about 6 or 7 months ago, and it was you wouldn't have thought it was a car. And at that stage it was how many miles? About 212.
212 and
I think it just turned 200 maybe whenever I drove it.
Possibly.
And it was the only thing was the knock from the coilovers. But
what knock from the coilovers?
You turn the corner, you'd hear not even a knock. You would go round the corner hard. You'd be sort of just a wee bit worried about hitting the arch off the wheel.
Oh right, yes.
If you don't know how to drive a lowered car, but if you know how to drive a lowered car, it's not a problem. Like.
But no, he's very happy with it, and health to drive for him. The Golf I got, I've now done like 2,000 mile in it now.
Holy shit.
So far.
That was like me with Amarok. I put 4,000 mile on the first month.
Or something. Wow.
Oh,
no offense, just
camera.
let it out because that looks like you're going to blow your brains out.
I know, but if I sneeze, it actually hurts, so I don't sneeze properly.
Right.
I don't
Fair
want to
enough.
sneeze properly in camera either. I need to stop playing my hair.
I'm not. No, I have to admit, like, yes, it's different to hold the microphones and that there, but you're just the whole thing's going everywhere.
I know, but sure, I like using my hands.
Because if I do that there, then it just what's crack horse.
What? We are culty as fuck, like.
Well, it is an agri automotive podcast,
Exactly, so that's what I'm saying. So that's where actually the whole fucking owl hand look that you're watching Spotify, or you're listening to Spotify, you'll not see us. We're basically both reclined with one arm hanging out the window like a trucker.
But
like a big tang.
The Golf seems to be going well. It's funny how, like, something very stupid even, the Mark 6, you seemingly got 100 mile before she even shifted from a full tank. The new car, 120 mile, and she's at 3/4 of a tank.
No, my Amarok you could get to like 111 mile, and then all of a sudden it's
just
by
drops.
115 mile it's at 3/4. Like,
so either they've sorted out the actual, the level in the tank that actually is accurate now.
well, no, they didn't with mine anyway.
Because seemingly for so far it's...
My bore have been the same as that too. My bore you put on 120 miles no bar and go like, "Jeez, still in the full tank of diesel," and then by the time you get to 200 and it's like halfway, and it's like.
I will say one thing. See, having good tyres in the car, you don't realise.
What are they like? Wouldn't know.
Well, to be fair, I've had good tyres in the car before.
High quality ditch finders.
So front tyres on her is Petsport 4s, and they're good, like. Not gonna lie. Now, to be honest, with being so used to coilovers, a bit of body roll and that in the corners, I am not used to that at all.
Aye.
But what I would say is, like, they're every bit as good as the P0s I had in the Polo. Now, for anybody that's wondering, like, why did you put Pirelli P0s in a Polo? They were, like, actually the cheapest tyre available at the time.
A really good deal at the time.
They were £70 a corner.
If even, they might have been cheaper. Can't remember.
They must have been cheap. the last of some stock or something. That's how I got them cheap. But like, for all the power that car had at the time, you could have went anywhere and it was literally a go-kart.
Yeah.
Whereas Golf just don't have the confidence in it, and plus new car and all that too.
You wouldn't drive it like a cock anyway. Like,
no,
I
wouldn't do that. No, wouldn't do that anyway.
No, you just pulled out in front of someone when you were taking me for a test run.
I didn't.
You did.
I didn't.
You absolutely did. They beat the horn.
Aye, to salute me.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I remember I was like, he's not going. Okay, he's going. And you were like, they were going too fast, and I was like, Conor, it doesn't matter.
Well, there you are. They weren't doing the speed limit, allegedly.
Allegedly. You weren't fucking looking where you were going either, so...
I was. And I was very calm about the situation where
I was not.
No, you weren't.
I was very much not calm about the situation.
No, you were not.
No.
To be fair, do you want to know the other thing, right? So, nobody actually gives a fuck about this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's some job actually looking at the laptop to see that the microphones are working for once and to see how many minutes that we're on. We've 15 minutes of shite talked already, so that's not too bad, And then, new with yourself?
A few wee bits and pieces. I suppose the first one would be I say all three. There is a part 4 coming at some point, but there's a couple of extra things I actually want to add to part 4. So I'm going to leave it for a little bit longer. But
this is the Fiat video.
Part 1, 2 and 3 of the Fiat video is now...
I'm have to give it to you. They're good.
Do you know what? Whenever
I'm not fucking blowing more hot air.
But whenever
they're good.
Well, I think the task I had set. Look, admittedly, I made video 1 and 2 over Christmas when I was quite sick, and I could have probably put a wee bit more effort into the editing than maybe I did. But so the idea was can someone, like a young cub, 17, 18, or whatever, younger if you want, and you feel brave, with basic tools, will you be able to basically do that conversion? And I think the answer is yes.
Well, you made a fuck up in one of the videos all the same.
Yeah. 100%. But that's life. Do you know what the thing about that fuck up, right? So, if you haven't seen the videos, basically, I had ordered a turbo outlet flange AN10, and normally they're all the same, but the TO4 turbo I'm using has this bigger one. So I ordered the same one that I'd ordered from my wholesale, because the AN4, the top, the oil inlet flange was the same. So I thought the bottom one would be the same, and it even said TO4 when I ordered it. So I was like, yeah, great. No, it wasn't the same. It's the same as the wholesale, but not the same as the Garrett. So that was a wee bit of a kicker, but got the right one ordered and then got it sorted. So look, didn't put up the video for a couple of months because I wanted to run the tractor and actually drive the tractor. There's no point in doing this whole how-to video and then how did it go? Actually the tractor blew up. So, you don't want that. One thing I have learned, and no one ever mentioned this to me beforehand, and now a few people have said it to me since, no one has ever said this, is did you adjust the tappets in the head? And I was like, no.
What are the tappets?
Don't know, something to do with the valves. Look, tappets, see when it comes to that stuff, I'm not even going to pretend to be a mechanic.
Oh, so what I'm...
Basically, they're saying if you can get a bit more, if you can adjust it to allow the valves to open a bit more, you can get more air in. Or more in the combustion chamber,
Yeah, so that would, in theory, be like valve clearances.
Kinda.
So, yes.
But, tappets, when it comes to that technological detail of an engine, no. I'll just throw my hands, just say, I don't know enough. I can bullshit onto the side of an engine and I can explain all the processes around it and everything. That bit not a problem. See, once you go into the head of an engine, no, not my specialty. So
just a small disclaimer for anyone who is listening with earphones. If I blow the eardrums off you because I'm too loud at a point, I'm not used to holding the microphone, so
at least you can watch to see what you're doing.
I know, but I don't know what blows the eardrums off people and what doesn't, so just a small disclaimer, even though
that's probably as loud as you want to be honest there now,
but sure, Michael, we'll put it this way, as you're saying about the Fiat, 36 hours ago I did not give 36 hours ago I didn't know much about generators, nor did I give a fuck about generators.
Same. No.
36 hours later,
right,
I'm like, oh my god, that generator's quite big at this amount of kVA, or what drives what. It's amazing how to get them going, in regards to putting the plug into the house and that actually feeds electric into the house.
So I didn't even know what backfeeding was 48 hours ago, and now I'm doing it to my mum's house at the minute with a generator. So it just goes to show you, the more you learn.
Sure, saw I had done some research whenever I get in a car, and it just goes to show you that whenever you have the car,
yeah, you find out a lot more about it.
Then you find out a lot more about it. So yeah, just well, you find you find the quirks.
I was just a wee bit frustrated because everyone said, "Did you see about the tappets? Did you do the tappets?" And I was like, "No." Like, no one ever said anything. Another fella said, "Did you torque the head bolts as well?" I was like, "No." So I'm in part 4. Part 4 was supposed to be about the tractor pull and a few other bits and pieces, but I think I'm going to do part 4. Like, part 4 is supposed to be the dyno. So it's either going to be one of two things. I'm either going to do a short video showing like the dyno and the tractor pull,
yes,
and a small conversation about it, or I might do like another 20-minute long video.
Fair enough. To be fair, I know I'm a lot more relaxed now. I don't know why the fuck it was like a real.
So you have to just sit back.
I know, but it's I don't know, just being.
It is weird holding the microphones as opposed to
yes.
sitting talking to them, because you don't know what to do with this hand now. It's fine for me because I use my hands anyway to explain.
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, the odd time, but not that much.
I suppose the other thing is, and you're involved with this too, obviously, Conor, but I'll start from the start, was where we record our podcast, that shed is also where we happen to park cars, right? To get into that shed, you either have to wait for about 3 weeks of dry weather, or if your car's not that low, you just send it. Unfortunately,
all of our cars are quite low, and you still have to send it regardless.
The only one that's not low is the Lexus. Everything else has to be sent, and the end up with the Sierra. I was trying to get it in there before Christmas, and I just couldn't get it into the shed. Like, I was bogged it so many times, and I was just like, oh, fuck this. And we'd been talking about it anyway, and we'd talked about it even last year, and we just said, you know what, like, basically, it's like it used to be an old gravel yard, but whenever Dad was living, like, we had parked all the implements and stuff on it, like, grass harrow and roller and all that stuff. So everything would have been there, and you would have been in bale lifters, stuff like that, bale spike, etc. So you'd have been in and out of that yard quite frequently. So you never really had a chance for weeds to grow, because it was always getting dug up, so it was quite gravelly.
Yeah.
But obviously, whenever Dad passed, like, the yard lay dormant sort of for like 20 years, and I'm always a big believer in keeping things indoors.
Of course, yeah.
And then after 5 years, when the weeds started growing, and then you spray them down, but they just kind of turn to mush and dirt, and then you end up with this like dirt layer. Plus,
like with autumn time and that there, sure, moss and stuff's going to go.
And that's essentially what happened. And then, and even though we would spray it, like, it was sprayed over the summer, but it hasn't been sprayed now, but I'll probably spray it again in the spring. But like, even though we would spray it, like, it just, the grass dies, but then it just decomposes and just sits on top. So, like, one of the reasons we even have Mary is because we would have used this wee yard for different bits and pieces, and you couldn't take a forklift through it because the forklift just bogged. So yeah. Mary being able to go into that shed, that's one of the reasons, because, like, to store stuff in that shed and put stuff in that shed, that's one of the reasons we got Mary, was because it was like, right, well, we can't use a normal forklift, we need something that's like got all-terrain. So originally it was going to be an all-terrain forklift, and then we decided to go with a telehandler, but she's a pivot steer, but
that's still a telehandler.
So we went with Mary instead. Like, and the way it's going to be is actually the top of that yard where that shed door is leads over across to a field, and it's got a concrete patch in front of, like, because it used to be a collecting pen. So we're just literally concreting across the front of the shed. So Conor's brother is doing the digger work and helping us out with it. And the first day, me and Jared came down to look at it and start digging it out. It was still really bad ice. So I went and left the dump trailer at yours. I don't even know if you were there.
No, I was away getting a car.
Oh yeah, that's right. So I landed up to yours in the tractor, left at the dump trailer, took the dump trailer home, and Jared was like, "Are you going to go get a load of stone now?" I goes, "No, I'm going to go to the house. We'll take a look at what we need to do," because Jared had to leave anyway. So I was like, "I'll go and get a load of stone." So anyway, our lane was like complete. I turned on their lane, came up the lane, and then the next thing I was like, "Oh no, this lane that's not concrete, that's ice." I came up the lane in the tractor, and she just started spinning.
Fuck.
And kept spinning. And I was in third. I was trying to lag her to try and like get grip. She just spinning, started sliding down the yard. Meanwhile, Jared was driving up my arse, wondering why the caddy wasn't going. He thought the clutch was going on the caddy, not realising it was ice. So Jared, then I started rolling back, sliding down the yard in the tractor, and I was screaming like at Jared, like screaming. No, he wouldn't have heard me. I was like, "Get out the fucking way!" And then she just caught grip. The back tires just caught grip. Thankfully, the trailer was empty. Imagine if I was doing that while full trailer, like I'd have been paying for to fix that key. Like that'd have been a written off trailer, 100%.
I could probably not written off, but
no, that wall that it would have hit wasn't for moving. Because then I managed to get it then down into the yard. But even when I was reversing out,
unless it was a shattered wall, it probably would have caved.
Put it this way, a lorry slid onto it once in the ice. The lorry got bent and the wall didn't move.
Is it shattered?
I don't know what it is.
Or is it double skinned?
Double skinned, I think. It's built in like the 40s.
Oh, probably laying its flat basically.
Probably about 6 foot of foundations.
Fair enough.
So, like, then whenever I was coming back out, I reversed out and then went to go down the lane. And again, the whole tractor just jackknifed on me. Like, nearly hit the wall again. I was like, because it was just a pure bottle. So then Jared was...
This is the other thing. Why the fuck do we call it a pure bottle?
I don't know. Glass bottle, I suppose, is pure smooth.
So we were saying then, Jared?
So then, that was alright. Jared then had to go off and do something with the wains, and I went to FP McCann, got a load of stones. First time the tractor has had any sort of load on it, apart from the sled, but that's not the same.
No.
So your trailer weighs about 3.5 ton empty.
Probably around that. Well, the main thing, with the load on, probably what? How many ton of stone did you have on?
That load was about 9.8, so give or take 13 ton on behind.
So say 14 ton for any counting, 3.5 ton trailer. Did you notice the difference?
Oh, aye, 100%.
Like
absolutely noticed the difference. She didn't drop below 2k even on the hills. You just hear the note of her changing. As soon as she comes under load, the exhaust note changes from this like normal sort of Fiat sounding note to this real like deep roar. It's hard to explain unless you run the tractor with me. Bernie Keenan said it to me. He was like, whenever she comes under load, you hear the note change. And I was like, I haven't really heard that yet. And then whenever you come to a hill or whenever, like there's a couple of hills that are sort of rightly awkward, and I was like, I'm going to have to drop the fourth. And like, she just held it at 2k. She didn't drop. And I was just like, that's impressive. Mm-hmm. And that's fifth gear. Like, that same sort of load with no turbo, you'd have been down to maybe fourth or third. She would have struggled. Like, I know she was still a good nifty tractor even with no turbo, but the hang she has now is absolutely incredible.
Well, I suppose that's why you spent the money. That's what you want.
Well, that's exactly what it was for. Like, was it? Now, I don't know, because, I mean, when I was drawing the load, I haven't done a load of stone with her non-turbo to compare.
Fair enough, yes.
But I have done a load of silage, heavy silage, like wet second cut, in my silage trailer.
Yes.
And I know she would have, like, she was dying a bit. And I've seen the best way to see it'll be when I'm coming up a hill nearly full of grass in the first cut. Artlone Hill will be a good test in the first cut. Yeah. Because that'll be, I know it's a different trailer. It's a Fraser versus that other trailer. But if it was slightly more full or whatever, and if she just didn't even drop the revs at all, you would just go, okay, it's a completely different tractor.
No, like, funny, so, yeah, obviously I gave a hand in the second week of your project.
Yes. Tired, Conor?
Yeah, it's been a fucking mad weekend.
I hear you.
But, yes, what was I saying? Yes, so you drove the tractor down the yard, and obviously you were back and all the rest. But what I'm trying to say is basically you totally tell she was turboed. Like, she sounded fucking well. Not gonna lie, like the wee whistle and all. Like, not gonna lie, whenever I seen her driving home from the tractor, I was like, there's no difference in that tractor really, or a wee bit of a different note change, but that was about the height of it. But like,
when she's a load on her, it's a different story.
It sounds tight. I'm not gonna lie.
You'll hear whenever we get the first cut at yours. You'll hear the difference big time when she's coming snoring down the lane.
Plus, you'll gain the good bit of torque too. Probably nicer to drive, easier to drive. You nearly feel like she's mapped to drive.
Kinda, yeah, but you'd need to just be. You could be tempted to go in too high a gear, and you cannot pull the clutch out of her handy.
Yeah.
Like, I changed like the road up beside where I live here. Like, I came up that hill, and I was like, if that had been her non-turbo, you'd have had a crawl. And I was able to sort of feed her gears, but I did go for second a bit too early. And she sort of she came in and she pulled, but I was like, oh, that's maybe a bit too early.
Didn't like it,
but it took it. But you just knew, I was like, if I had just hung her a wee bit longer in first and then went for second, she probably would have.
Well, it would have been better, yeah.
But, so that, like, back to, like, I suppose the main thing with the concreting. So we have the main bit all dug out now. Jared was then down yesterday. He's put in the sump and he's done the drain. So this Saturday, all been well, as long as the weather holds, we'll be all concreting. Well, you might not be, but it'll be me and Jared. Or are you coming down as well?
You're home in time?
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to England now. I'm going to Cork.
Oh, fair enough. I'll probably be milking the cows at the time you're probably doing it. Mm-hmm. But as soon as I milk the cows, like, I'll call down for a yarn, and see. But here, it'll be some job.
The difference it'll make in general for us, me, you and Casper, to even get the cars out, it'll be some job, like.
And then I think he talked about on the Sunday just calling down and sawing it then.
For expansion? Yeah. Probably not a bad idea.
But it's funny how, like, a couple of thousand means nothing nowadays. Like, in the grand scheme of things, you do anything nowadays at all, and it's a couple of grand. Like,
it's going to cost a rate, but I must see the amount of money we have to spend to fix that roof. But arguably, like, that roof, I mean, the boys that take that shed off us, I mean, probably 10 years ago they first come on the scene, and 10 years ago we were looking at that roof going, that roof's not great. We got an extra 10 years out of it. So the only thing is, if you had done the roof 10 years ago, it would have been a hell of a lot cheaper than it is now.
Aye, but at the same time,
it's never going to be any cheaper than it is now, is the other thing. Like, if you do it now, if you prolong that another 2 years, it's only going to be more expensive. So you may as well just do it now.
No, of course. And plus, like, 10 years ago, with the way modern tin and all is, who's to say it wouldn't be blew off anyway?
That's the bit that worries me. Stuff's not near as good as it was.
No, very true, it isn't. Now, other people could have the opinion that, like, that's not the case, but you can get lucky with stuff, and, well, I've heard some people say, look, tin and timbers and all that there in sheds not last maybe long enough. I don't know, but like, sure as you say, it's the same with everything really. They just don't make stuff like they used to.
Well, a couple of other things then, just before we finish off and move on to our guest section, but got an ARP shifter for the Sierra.
Oh, you got one?
Got one. So got it for my birthday / Christmas.
Did you get it installed yet? No.
Sure, this Boris still lying on the left.
Oh, that's
February's problem. I mean, I should do a wee video on it as well, because there's a few things I need to do. I need to set. So I've bought a few things for the Sierra. I've got the shifter, which it really needed. I also have camber plates for the rear. So I have a few things like that. I need to do the gear shifter. I have camber plates to fit to the rear, or decamber plates.
To the Sierra?
Yeah. And then I'm going to fit extended studs and take off the rear spacers and go for 10mm spacers instead of 20mm.
Okay.
Because if I decamber and add the spacers,
you'll hit.
Yeah. So if I can do that, then I'll just run extended nuts, and because I run tuner nuts anyway, it doesn't really matter how long the long the threads are. So it's fine that way. So I'm going to do that too. What else? fix the neon, so obviously really important. And just genuinely give it a tidy up. There's a couple of things. The car's been running incredibly rich in startup, and it's been ever since that last drift day where it unplugged the map line. So I need to look at it, see what the crack is with it. And I'm going to fit new spark plugs, change the oil, do a few bits and pieces.
Yes,
and just get her. So I have the car entered, hopefully, whether it happens or not, whether I get in or not, but I have it entered for the Drift Games Invitational, Spring Invitational.
When's it?
1st and 2nd of March.
Oh, very good.
So I might just go down and sleep in the Amarok, just to try and save a bit of money. And I have the tyres from the last drift day still there.
Yes.
So I'm just going to go and buy a couple of extra tyres, and once I run out of tyres, I'll be okay. I'll be happy enough. I'm not going down and I'm not going to go down and burn a heap of sets of tyres. If I could go down and get a few runs of the place, I'm more than happy. So
hopefully at some stage, sorry, I'll just end up washing my car.
Yeah, well, I was hoping we could all take everything out whenever the concrete cures. So that'll be the week after I come home from that stag. So Valentine's weekend, pretty much that Sunday. Would be when we'll get a chance to.
Roughly, I possibly, probably won't, but no, that makes absolutely no sense. I was going to say I would nearly even take her home to wash her, but that makes absolutely no sense.
No, sure we can. Maybe, I don't know if I will have, maybe at that stage I might have water plumbed into that other place too.
Oh, right, yes, fair enough.
So,
for sure that
the drain and all there, so it'll be a handy enough job. So, yeah, that's everything for me. Caught up.
There's, in regards to, there's nothing really much happened, just the storm, in regards to the farm, storm. We've a couple of cows calved and heifers calved.
Yeah.
I know this is a nearly quick roundup, but it's been absolutely mental between cows scanning, TB testing next week, getting everyone organised for that. It's coming that time near Slurry, so stuff is starting to fill up, and you're shifting bits and balls.
Get the vacuum tanker fixed.
So there's that too. I'm not going to lie, January 2025 has probably been one of the longest and busiest months of my life, between searching for a car and everything else and trying to get away. It's been total fucking madness. And as you would have said back in the day, I have been just floored with the buzzy.
Kilt way the buzzy boys.
Oh, kilt
way the buzzy.
I am fucking floored with the buzzy.
Well, will we move on to our guest?
Well, surely, Michael.
So this is a bit different. Our guest this week is Jack Wilson from Hachetto Racing. Jack, if you follow him on Insta, he is slick_E36. He drives a Pandem E36 with an RB25.
Nice.
The thing is absolutely
it's very
fucking
aggressive.
Nuts. It's class. It's
very
probably
aggressive.
one of the coolest cars in the country. He also works for Tomas Volve.
Oh, lovely, yeah.
Helping out with things. Does a bit of farming. He has followed the podcast pretty much from day one.
Oh, there you go.
Him and Drift Games even do a video on him. They have a unit called Hachetto Racing.
Yeah.
Watch the Drift Games video on it. There's a group of mates and they all just work with really, really cool cars. It's an absolute honour to get Jack on the pod. First time we met him was at JDM Classics, and then I was in a real bad mood at the point and accidentally shouted at him and had to send a message apologising to him. So
what'd you shout at him for?
He asked me a question. He said, "How are you feeling?" I goes, "Do I look like I'm fucking okay?" Or something like that. There.
Oh, you are a cheeky bugger.
Yeah. I know.
Where's the blue pipe out there? Give you a whack.
I was so angry. I was over the head of the car, and then I said to him, I go, "Sorry, Jack." I goes, "That came out wrong." I was like, "I'm sorry." I was like, "I'm just such bad form." He's like, "You don't have to tell me twice." He goes, "I know all about it."
At least he was understanding.
Well, he's had all the things. He's had a lot of issues with his BM as well. So the big thing, I suppose, with this one is it's only me interviewing and not Connor, because I had to go and visit Jack in Cork.
This will be interesting. To be honest with you, if the feedback's good, then I'm out of a fucking job.
Well, it's not really going to be the same.
You know?
Plus, you're good at leading, you're good at like, kind of bringing us back to earth.
But no, it'll be interesting to see how it goes for you.
So, I get caught up.
I disappear shortly,
and I get caught up with Jack. So I'm gonna
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna go to Cork. Now we're here, and it's just me and my own, and I'm with Jack Wilson from Hachetto Racing. So, as I've already said, Jack, you don't know I've already recorded the intro to this, and did a lot of real
research,
talk really nicely about you. Actually, yeah, I know. We don't have Conor here to cut into really if we go off tangent, so I actually don't know how this is going to go. It's the first ever podcast,
and I am liable to go off. So
we're definitely like
if we haven't turned up to work tomorrow,
we'll still be talking.
someone can get us. We know where we're going.
So I'm here in Hachetto Racing HQ. We are in what basically looks like a casting couch.
I know this is our canteen.
It's the canteen. So
canteen. Like, we're here so often that we need a canteen.
Yeah, well, like,
and it's never used.
Do you know what I genuinely am jealous of? Is, and I said this to you off camera, is there's a few of us, a group of my mates. There's me and Conor. Now Conor does leave his car at mine, but there's like likes of Jack and Calvin and John and Greth and all them boys.
Yeah.
All have these class cars, and they're all like within a 20-mile radius of me. But we all have our own units and our own tools and our own shed.
Yeah.
And part of me kind of wishes that we were all together, because then we could all help each other out and stuff. You have that here, and see when I walk in here and just see all the cars. And
it looks good. Like,
it's classic.
There's pros and cons, though.
I could say, I'm sure at times, like if you were trying to do something and our fella was grinding beside you.
Yeah. Well, but we work around. To be fair, the odds of actually having us all here.
But one of them's in Australia.
Shout out to Ross.
Yeah. So
he'd be doing well to come back.
Yeah.
I think one of the other fellas is in Morocco at the moment. So we've,
right. Working or holiday or
it's a holiday. I think he got a €60 flight and just took off or something like that.
Yes.
Cheap flight. But there is pros and cons. Like, it's essential for all of us. Like, the man that you met inside working, he's half hour from here. I'm 40 minutes from here. Do you know, there's actually none of us are really that close.
I was going to say 40 minutes is still a bit of a trek.
Yeah. Well, like, I have it just because I like crack. It's
100%.
Do you know, I have my own shed at home next to the house where I do the painting and stuff, but I couldn't have.
You couldn't paint here, but
no, they asked me to do the shed that's outside the one here. But couldn't justify every amount of cleaning stuff. So I'd rather have my car here clean-ish.
Yes.
It still gets dirty, unfortunately, but at least I'm not worried about overspray or something.
Genuinely, and I actually said this as well. Your E36, but we'll get on to it, but it's one of the coolest cars in the country.
Jesus,
in my opinion. It's like
when it works. It hasn't worked for a whole length of time.
But you do know who you're talking to, like.
I think it's been seen out in public twice. Seen out in public that people like. I've drove it locally around at home, but other than that, for sure, it's gone to toy driving. It's gone to old school, new school. That's it.
Well, you're coming at Upshed.
Yeah.
But maybe
should be.
Hopefully,
I'm hoping it'll be going. I will just hope that it will drive into Dubshed under its own power.
I'll push you in.
No, I don't want to be pushed in. That's the problem. I can push it in myself. I want it to decide to keep its clutch in its fucking inside the flex or the fucking pressure plate.
Yeah,
and I love cursing this actually because I'm brutal.
Absolutely.
That's grand. So for a salesman every day, it's very hard not to curse.
No. Yeah. So technical difficulties, but anyway,
that's what we're called.
Yeah. Right. So me and Conor, because of the storm, we actually had to record like on the sofa in my house. So this is just a sofa podcast.
Nice.
This is a very, very.
This is the one that's going to be joined into now.
Yes. So it's just moving from one sofa to another. I kind of wish that.
No, this is an old school sofa.
This thing. I know you can't see it, but it's like
you'll have to just edit in a picture.
Yeah, you can't even see it on YouTube, and you definitely won't see it on Spotify because you're listening. But this is something that would have been like in the 1970s or 1960s.
You had money when you had this couch. Like,
this is the type of thing that you would just be like, if you had it in the house, it'd be like, that is.
I'll describe it. It's a wing-backed couch.
Aye.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That is literally what it is.
It's a wing-back couch, and there's a little flurry bits down the bottom here.
It's absolutely class.
We did steal it out of one of the lads' grandmother's house. No, she got new ones. We didn't just
just literally turf her off the chair one night.
Well, he is from the north side of Cork, so like questionable. Could happen. Would have been questioned. Let's put it that way.
Yes. So I suppose before we get into the whole Hachetto Racing unit and all that thing, I suppose we need to really go back to the start and figure out what got you into cars.
Cousins, really. Like, father's like most young fellas. They liked cars when they were small. Well, small, young cubbers, you call them. But that was kind of ever as far as life got in the way of cars. Disappeared. Most of my friends are that way as well. Like all the boys that are here in the Hachetto, I knew none of them 6 years ago now, I suppose. Yeah, 6 years ago.
Right.
Knew none of them. And no, 6 years later I was groomsman at his wedding.
Yes.
You know, we've come that far. Cousins always had just kind of modified cars, Corollas and your random stuff. So
when you say Corollas, are we talking
the boxy GTI ones is what they used to have?
Are they like A92s?
Yeah, those ones. It was the one before the E10.
Yeah, so you see Corollas aren't a thing other than the twin cam.
Whereas they're life and blood down here.
You would have seen the occasional E10. That's like the kind of the curved hatchback.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you don't see up north the KP60s, K70s, like that's not a thing.
Yeah, whereas it's massive down here.
Yes, that like my first time going to Donegal Rally was 2015, and what I seen in Donegal compared to what we had up here.
Yeah, you didn't know what half the cars even were looking at them. Like,
because and that was back when an S14, when SR20 DET was still like $3,500.
Yeah,
and a clean one at that.
Yeah,
like, you know, we up in the north, we were all obsessed with like
diesel.
Well, diesel, but also like for Dubshed, you know, we were all about having like a Golf, like my old 207, which was on hydros, split rims, you know, done up interior, like show car sort of style.
Yeah,
and, like I come across the border to Donegal and just went, I am
these boys at?
I am missing out.
Yeah,
like,
well, I can't tell you, my first car was probably what you'd call felt spec. It was as close as you'd get to it. It was a Mark 1 Leon.
Okay, was it diesel?
No.
Oh, see.
This is the problem. Couldn't insure diesel because that's the problem down here. You couldn't.
Is that I thought tax was the problem with diesels down here.
No, it was insurance. You couldn't for the life of me. I paid 1,400 quid to insure the 1.4 petrol one. It was 2,500. Now I know a lot of people are probably looking going, 2,500 isn't bad now.
Fucking hell.
So the 1.4 petrol, but it had the RS6 alloys, slabs, big massive mud flaps dragging along the ground, and then I grew up.
Did you?
Really? No, I spent a lot more instead.
I hear you.
So I got that, and then I moved closer to what you'd call what you probably had of like show car esque.
Yes.
And Mark II no, not Mark II. Astra H anyway, the kind of the 07
Mark
shape
5
one.
Astra is what
we
Mark 5 Astra.
There was that many marks, right? One of them, and it's like you could put a credit card between the wheel and the arch and it would stay there, and it was 3 SDMs, and it was the kit was all blended in. And
what colour is that car?
Silver.
I know that car.
Yeah, you would have seen it at Donegal a couple of times. Yeah.
I was just saying, I remember a silver. Is there a picture of it sitting with the credit card in the arch?
Yeah.
I remember that picture from back in the day, because I was thinking, I was like, if he says silver, I'm gonna know that car.
Yeah, so that was 1.3 diesel. So that was
1.3. I thought they only were 1.7s. No, I know you got 1.3s in the courses.
It was a rocket. In fact, well, not a rocket. It was a quick car for what it was. It was mapped and everything, so it was probably
a grand 65.
It was probably 120 horsepower or something like that.
Well, I mean, my old 207 was 68.
Yeah, so but I thought that was an absolute masterpiece. And then, to be honest with you, never looked after that car the way I should have. It depleted. Got to the point where I traded in, bought an E92. Then back when they were big money, so it was a 2-litre diesel one.
Oh,
yeah.
An E92. So I don't know why I went. Oh, they're actually quite a cool car. But don't know why I sort of. I guess I don't know. They're still too modern.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
They're coming around now.
If
you come down to West Cork for the rally, you'll see a good shot of them out wrecking and stuff.
They're kind of at that age now where you can get them cheap enough to weld the death.
Yeah, exactly. And mess around with but mine was, I got the wheels off an Evo, or they were a JR kind of XXR style things.
Yes.
Came off an Evo, made them fit.
Adapters?
No, actually, if you buy JRs in Jack Fitment, just fit an Evo spec, the other ball pattern's actually BMW on them. Yeah, random enough one. But got them to fit and slammed that, drove that for years. I 3 or 4 E46s in the middle that never made road, and then bought the lovely car that I have now. Well, actually, I bought the BMW, the 36, and I bought an IS200 then as well, because I couldn't get the E92 through test.
Oh.
So, was fighting with that. Was painting enough IS200s at the time. Said, John, I'll get one of these. Then the IS200 became a daily for another 2 years, and then
you dailied an IS200 for 2 years. They are so sore and feel.
40 minutes drive each way. Yeah,
they're so sore and feel. Like they are.
I'm putting as much into the company car I have now.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, 80 quid is what it used to run me from Cork City down to the Manway where I am. So that's 40 minute drive each way.
My 300 gets £40 about 100 mile.
Oh no, mine was doing way better than that.
No, my 300, it's automatic as well.
Oh, yeah.
She just
swallows.
Yeah, like
if it's in front of it, it'll drink it.
If you did a long journey, £90, you were getting 280, 300 mile.
Oh yeah, not
like, and that was like it filled to the brim, £90. As I say, if you're doing like just driving like half an hour, 40 like this was during when this was, to be fair, this was back when petrol prices went through the roof back at home, so you're paying like 170, maybe 180.
Yeah, so
that's pounds, that's sterling.
Yeah,
so
shit money.
Yeah, like that was back when.
That's what we're paying euro now, I think.
But to be fair, like the pound and the euro, I think the euro's quite weak against the pound at the moment.
I couldn't tell you.
I think it's like
probably should know, but
I don't know whether.
And a companion pound, in you to get euro.
No, well, I'm just glad to see the pounds. The only thing that saddens me about euros is whenever I go to pay for anything down here, I now get hit with a fee.
Oh, do you not have Revolut?
I do have Revolut, but I use my work credit card.
Oh,
so
you're not paying for it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
But it's the principle.
I was going to say, use Revolut and just put I have a pound account on it just for.
So do I have a Revolut.
Just for literally going up the north, it's just there. Done.
I would have that for if I was coming down here on a holiday. Absolutely.
Yeah, way better job.
But for work, no. It's just not.
It also gets you around the London Underground if you use the Euro account to tap on. It doesn't charge the first couple of spins.
Say no.
What's the fucking allegedly?
Allegedly. So they tell me.
Yeah. I figured that out by mistake.
That's unreal. But so did you have? So you talk about the
I had a 205 as well. Actually, I forgot about that.
How long?
I had a 205 van with a D turbo engine. Slam! I actually had to show you.
You're taking the piss out of me about being Felsback, and then you just tell me you have this. Really?
No, it was a van as well. It wasn't even a car.
That's class.
I'm going to go find photos. I'll just scroll here.
Was it a 1.8 or a 1.9?
I don't know what the fuck it was. It was out of a Berlingo anyway.
Oh, it was 1.9.
I was only... What? This was my uncle's quad, as he called it, around the farm. And he gave it to me for doing a job, and I was just doing it by. I learned to rap. Like that.
See now, if you had that would be worth.
I know where it is. It's still around.
See, the fella I work for, like in the farm, he had a 305 van.
Yeah.
Like at 1.9 straight D. And he said to me, he was like, and I was like, here, look, I would take that, because my plan was I'd take it and put a set of super lights on it and slam it. And just
you're gonna like mine. So.
And then he was like, no, but the mechanic who does bits of work for me, he has first dibs. I goes, you do realise if it goes there, it's going to sit in the grass, and there's probably going to be a tree growing through it. And he goes, I know, but I can't go back my word, which is fair play.
Yeah, fair play.
Then he said to me not that long ago, he's like, we should go up to your man's and maybe see about getting that van out. He goes, if you'd still be interested in taking it on. And I was like, I have too many cars. Oh, so if you send me that, I'll
screenshot that.
I'll put that in. Like, that is absolutely savage. that is
no,
me.
It's one of those tin footers. It looked great from far away. I was still learning everything.
It's like my P100. My car looks mint in photos and photos in my P100.
Yeah,
and it is literally
up
50
close,
fucking shades of blue. Like, and there's rust everywhere. But
to the people on the internet, it looked great.
On the internet, it looks great.
Yeah.
So, was Hachetto Racing a thing before you got the E36, or
no? So we have to go further. There was actually a different group before this. It was called the Lower Association.
Lower Association?
The Lower Association.
The Lower Association.
So
the Lower Association.
It was around when I was getting into cars first. A guy called Barry ran it. Barry still actually, he still has control of the page. It pops up every so often. But Barry kind of grew out of cars.
Yes.
Just, I think he lost his license or something, a lot.
Yes, that would,
that
would bring your career,
out of it.
That would bring your driving career to an abrupt end, yes.
That ran for ages. He was a videographer, so he did.
Okay.
It was kind of one of those ones. I don't know if you've ever heard of crews that are down here now.
As in CRUZE?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the way they operate is like Gavin runs it as like it's good cars and it's out for videos.
Yes.
That's the way the TLA used to be. It wasn't a thing of wrecking and stuff. But then he stopped. I think he went to college or whatever, went travelling or something, and then he came back and I just lowered the E92 and done all the stuff, and as I said, it was a fresh car at the time. It was a modern car, so no one really had modified them. So he just rang me about doing a video on it. Then through that, me and Scott, the man who owns the S14 here, we kind of started organising meets with him, and we did kind of Friday night club, which is literally we just met up, went for a drive somewhere. It was never any messing, but it was always nice cars. So we did that first. No, there actually wasn't really any. There wasn't. It was literally go do a couple of photos, go away home.
Do you mind when you used to be able to do that? The concept of going and getting photos now, like someone said we should go on a drive and get a few photos. That's so alien to me now.
Yeah.
And back in the day, you would have
just done it. You would have drove for 3 hours to just go do it.
100% to go and get photos.
Yeah. No. Someone's going home.
Yep, someone's going home. I think part of the reason why is because photographers have got so good now. And I think
it has to be well set up.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is whenever I was younger and first getting into it, I just wanted photos and didn't really give a fuck.
Yeah,
and now,
who took them, what they look like. There was photos of my car.
And now it's like, if I take photos of myself, I'm just like, well, I'll get a snip of the car in the yard or something, but to go and actually go and put the time in, it nearly feels wasted just doing it on my own phone. You know, maybe I'm thinking a bit too much about it. But
you can be like, a lot of people just do videos on phone, but even as you say, like the level or like Gavin was up here the other night when Gavin from Crew was taking out when I was getting the gearbox out.
Yes.
To find out what happened to my clutch. Shocker, it exploded. But he was literally just walking around with a camera as if there was nothing happening. It looked like nothing. And then he sent me a video of him editing it. And it looks, you would swear to God we were some professional outfit above here the way he's edited it.
That's the magic of the camera, but
it's unreal.
We'll get on to all that in a bit with it. So then you were saying about
So we were kind of like, that's how we all kind of started to meet. So
it's
the first time I met Brian, the man that's here servicing. Literally, we were going somewhere. Barry said we're meeting here.
Yes.
My car didn't have test. Brian was there in his Skyline, and Brian was Skyline, Fast and Furious things.
Follow the money.
He was just sat there. We were chatting, and I goes, "I'm not going." I goes, "I'm not testing here." "Oh, should jump in with me, so." And that was it. Just we drove down to Waterford, and I sat. And first time I ever talked to this man, and we just went to Waterford in the car, sat passenger seat.
And to go to Waterford's probably an hour and a half from here, 2 hours.
Where we were going was 2 hours because we was down to Port Law.
Oh, okay.
Down to the Tannery Drift thing we'd rented out the place for.
Yes.
Don't take fancy cars there. Garvin is lovely, but it's a track car you'd want there, not your own car.
Yeah.
But yes, then that all kind of made up. Then Brian always had a shed. Not this one. He had a different one. He moved up here. With 2 other fellas who have since left.
Okay.
We started hanging out here during COVID. We'd seen one of the lads who was a videographer started just making videos. It was actually originally called Useless Cunts and Co. That's actually still on Instagram too if you want to go looking for it. And then the marketing bit behind James, the videographer, went, it's not really marketable if you want to make it anything, so pick Hachetto.
Yeah. So where did Hachetto
literally Hachetto Racing. We're looking up because there's a banner up above us. Yeah, Hachetto Racing. So that actually does translate, and I've checked this with Rusev. Yeah. As I showed him the thing, and I asked him to translate it to make sure that it actually did say it, and he said it's safe.
So Hachetto is Hachetto Racing.
Hachetto Racing.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. It's so simple.
So then whenever drift gear, because the first introduction I ever had, well, I had you actually on the socials before that.
Yeah.
Because I think I've followed you probably years now. But then I remember seeing Drift Games came here.
Yeah.
Why was that? Was that to do your car?
See, it's a bit of a strange. You have to go back a bit further then again. So like we always kind of knew the boys.
Right.
But when I was in college, because like, they're starting to do the painter thing, because I was listening to your one last night, like, the way they do 1 day or 2 days away.
Yes.
We do it differently here.
Stevie didn't do his like that. No, if you're a mechanic or an engineer, you'll normally go and work with a company and then you go to tech 1 day a week.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're a painter, you might do 3 months and then go back to tech for a week.
So yeah, he's the same as us. So that's the way we are. So I lived in Dublin for it. That's where the only spot.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of high-noons with the boys. So I did my first one in Sligo, which was 6 months, and then I did 2 lots of 3 months in Dublin.
Right.
But
so it was only a year.
Well, no, it's 4. It's spread over 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Mine was actually 6 with COVID.
Oh, I see. You do 6 months working, 6 months at the course, then 9 months working. Yes.
Exactly, and they move you around the place like that. But while I was above there, I'd known Craig Coleman through buying the kit and stuff, because I bought it off of them. Just messaged him. I goes, look, I'm spending way too much time in the pub. do you have anything that needs a bit of work doing and stuff like that? So I went up, started working
for 888.
For 888, yeah. So every evening I'd come out of college at 6 o'clock, drive up to 888, and I'd work there till 10 or 11 o'clock.
And at the time, probably, how many years are we talking now? At 6, 7?
Since that wasn't actually that long ago.
Oh
no, that was 3 years ago, maybe at best.
So,
like when I was above there, I was sanding the engine bay of Craig's PS13.
Okay, that was.
Like it's not long ago, but it's not. I also my greatest claim to fame. I've polished the wheels on the Porsche to Jimmy Oaks once.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. One.
So you're just because you're what 28.
28.
And you're saying that's 3 years ago, and you're saying is that only after you finished tech? So did you start your apprenticeship later than most?
Yeah, so I'm
just trying to fill in the gaps.
Sorry, came out and went to college for a year to do electronic engineering. Then I spent another year becoming an EI instrumentation engineer, kind of apprenticeship thing, with Gary, who owns the S15 outside here.
Okay.
Then that didn't work out. Me and another fella left. Well, kind of within the space of 3 months of each other. Sorry. Sorry.
If you're on YouTube, you'll see that. If you're on Spotify, you'll wonder why
my mic was too far away from me. But I got let go first, and another fella did soon after.
Oh, that's shit.
I decided I like cars, I'm going to work with that. The other fella decided he's going to immigrate to Canada and now you've probably seen him on TikTok, his what's his name? Fleetwood Jack. He's in the Galapagos or something at the moment now, and he just wings it and travel. No, do you know what he's actually doing at the moment? He's working his way up through Africa,
right?
With a Hilux that he bought, and like he just wings it completely.
And to be honest,
so it's random. The two of us have gone 2 very different directions.
Who's winning?
Well,
him or you?
He's definitely winning when you see some of the stuff he be at. But yeah, so I started very late. I didn't start my apprenticeship till I was 21. And then I got hit with COVID in the middle as well. And so when we get called, our bosses mightn't necessarily let us go.
Okay.
So at the same time, there was another apprentice there, and he got to leave. So I was dragged out another year again, effectively.
See, okay, because that's kind of what I was wondering, because I was trying, like, for us, like, normally you would start your apprenticeship. Stevie started his at 16.
Yeah.
For example, so he's 26 now and has been painting for
nearly
10 years.
Qualified way faster. Yeah. So I started late.
That's why I was just wondering. Like, that's why I said 6 or 7 years ago, because I thought maybe you came straight out.
It isn't that long ago at all. And then now I'm a salesman for a year and a half. So I only qualified a year and a half ago.
Ah, okay.
Technically.
But right, okay. Well, then that brings it. That's interesting how you get that.
So and we got the drift games. The reason we got the drift games is because Craig was down here. He had started working with drift games.
Yes.
They were looking for something to shoot. They were down collecting stuff, and he texted me, could we call up and do a video? That's how drift games ended up here.
Yeah, because we went off tangent.
I had invited them down ages ago. I messaged Dave when they were originally starting the videos.
Yes.
And they were doing the shed tours the first time.
Yes.
And he said, class, we'll be down. But then they grew way too rapidly and couldn't keep up with.
Yeah, and the growth they've had now is absolutely fucking insane.
So I think we were actually the last shed tour they've done, bar the likes of the boys and the Arabs and stuff.
Well, where you go and you see an Aston Martin and a Bentley.
And at the time, I think we got to... I think we were in their top 10 videos for about a year.
Yeah, the one of your the car was I remember that, like, because I remember being like, that's well, at the time I was like, that's like E36. I was like, because I was like, I have them on Instagram, and now Drift Games are doing a video, and I was like, bastard.
And there was one of the best comments ever. Some fella called me the Pat Short of the Drift World, and I want to keep that on. I just need to get a commentary gig now. It'll be the next one, and I'll run with that one.
I think you'd be quite good at that. So then, so that's obviously where I'd seen, and like I had seen you from building the car, obviously on Instagram, and then Drift Games done the video, and then they talked about Hachetto Racing. That was kind of where I'd first then learned about Hachetto Racing. So, like,
we've kind of gone dead in the water a bit, really. We've all got big boy jobs now. It's kind of hard to.
That's the thing, but it's so like you're talking about like organising. Like whenever I was younger, I'd have thought nothing about organising a meet.
Yeah,
and like now I've had this people at me about doing a cars and coffee for God knows how long, and I'm like, I think whenever you get older, you've seen so many good ones and you've seen so many bad ones,
and you know the effort that goes into making the good one.
Yes. Whereas when you were younger, if you organised a meet and 6 cars showed up and they were all standard, you didn't give a fuck.
No,
like, you were just
they turned up. Like they turned up.
You were like, like, and I mean, whenever we ran like Marfelt Cruise Nights, I know such a period correct time, like name, like you know, back when we were doing Marfelt Cruise Nights and all that. There, like it was like, you know, we had just been like, everybody land the BCP back car park at like 8 o'clock on Friday night, and like if you got 10 people there, it was like, we had a great meet, and everybody was walking about taking pictures and camera phones and posting it up online.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I've just got a bit of an elitist because elitist is the wrong word, but because we're
orchestrated it a bit better
because we're so maybe long in the game, I guess. What I look at now and I'm like, but like you need to see the proper nice photos and all that there.
Yeah, and get it. Like, should we do it? We organised the show for the West Cork Rally.
That's right.
Well, we and the boys. No, some of the boys do help. But like it's the same. Like it's invite only for the cars.
Is it invite only?
Yeah. With the cars, the cars are invite only to a certain degree.
I get that, but I know
it's just to stop langer and like
langers. Fuck me,
we don't care about IS200s or anything like that. Like my missus has one still. I have one. It's the fucking Egypts who drive one is the problem and follow the rally. Like I don't want lads leaving sideways causing havoc.
That's the problem, right? So the thing is, like that's a lot of our follower base, and I have to address that. And like, to be honest, like, you know, like when I had Sierra when I was younger, like, you know, I've had my Sierra nearly 10 years, like, so, you know,
when I was younger,
I'm not gonna cloud over the fact that I'd have been like that too. Obviously, can't really highlight that on a public. But I can appreciate like that. Obviously, I'm not going to incriminate myself about any further, but I know what you're
incriminate him. Fine, he's fucking hooligan.
I know what you're saying is like, because I was the same, and it's kind of like I had talked about doing things, and then like I'm sort of sitting here like trying to preach about how like if you're a young lad getting in the cars, just go to events and all this here. At the same time, you're kind of also sitting going, well, if I did organise something, I would want invite only to have like good, especially.
There's a lot of things. I love fellas who are trying.
Yeah, same.
Stuff who are things that are different.
Yeah.
Like the first show we had Blotter, it was Skylines, Viking Jaces, just because they were the lads we hung around with. If you went to the one last year, I had a Lupo in the middle of it, but it was a GTI Lupo. It was slammed on BBS wheels, and your man was trying. It was his pride and joy. I love the fact that he was delighted to show it.
JPCCNA, there was a E10.
Fuck, go on, say that again.
JPCCNA. So they're Japanese car culture.
Yeah, I know they're going to drive over it. So I've never actually heard it said out loud.
Yeah, well, so like they do a show up at like is it the T13? It's basically up beside the Harlan and Wolff cranes. Up in Belfast Harbour, and like I mean, they have some of the coolest cars in the country. My favourite car of that event was actually an E10 Corolla. It was like Nardo Grey, and like I'm not so much this now as I was maybe when I was younger. I used to be like a real wheel elitist when I was younger. Like I was like, oh, 3-piece wheels or nothing.
Yeah.
And now I've kind of like, now I've got the body clubs in the Sierra. I know I've said it works there for the Sierra, but I don't know when I'll get a chance to build them. And now I'm thinking about running Stroms. You know, like I've changed that way.
Oh, but that's it. Like it's about being different and like in
this Corolla
owning what you're doing.
This Corolla was in JRs, and it was kind of like, I don't know, whatever, JR3s, whatever. I think maybe it's the ones that look like grids, rotor grids, which look like RT 37 reps.
Yeah.
Maybe this is where the girl who drives it comes on and goes, they're actually T 37.
They actually realise spend a fucking fortune on them.
And I'm going to look like a complete knob here, but I was like, there's any amount of Evos here, any amount of Chasers here, any amount of Laurels.
Yeah,
you know,
that's actually lovely.
That's an E10 Corolla, and that's the only one here, and it's so subtly done, and it's so nice, and it was one of my favourite cars. And as I say, it wasn't a fortune spent on it, but you knew there was effort in it, and it was different.
That they'd spent the time on it.
So,
and like for anyone who is getting into cars, even the lads, like we'd say, like my car there now, it looks good. We're all bluffers. We're all just figuring it out as we go.
100%. Fuck me. How many? Well, actually, no. We'll get onto it now because we're fairly up. Yeah. So let's talk about the E36.
Yeah.
How many?
My money pit.
How many thousands of euros of mistakes do you think are in that car?
Oh, of mistakes.
Yeah, of mistakes. Just mistakes.
Can I include the engine that I bought, put in, and took out after I got it running?
Yes.
Probably 8.
Yeah, I'm
grand. Realistically, I've worked out. I've owned that car 5.5 years. It's 80 quid a week is what it's cost me.
Oh, I never worked that out that way.
I was very bored at work one day. It was a quiet day before Christmas. 80 quid a week since I bought the car. I bought the car for 250 quid, and we're 5.5 years later, so you can figure out the math yourself.
Yeah, there's about 25,000 euro there.
No, it's about 35 to 40.
I'm the same. That's what I am in the same.
Yeah. We should bleep out the numbers. But actually, I have no problem telling fellas what I have in that money. No, a lot of fellas think I have more, which surprises me, and I'm like, it's fucking 35 grand.
But the thing is, right? Like, well, that's the same as me. Like, I'm sitting here going like, people say it's like how much do you think you have in that Sierra? And it's like 33 grand. Yeah. And it's just like, but not sterling.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. Is like it's fuck. But like they say that, but at the same time, I've never spent. I think the most expensive thing I bought were the wheels in one go. Do you know? It's in one big outlay. It was the 4 or something grand. Mike Fitz will be able to tell me exactly how much that was again because he conned me into buying them.
Yes, they are cool though.
But they weren't the original ones I ordered.
What did you order?
The 2-piece. So you've seen the wheels that are on the Skyline? They were mine. I had them on it, but they had to have spacers.
Yes.
They're 2-piece ones.
Do you have yours converted to 5x114 fitment?
No, they're BMW fitment wheels. The other ones weren't.
That's what
so I had to have
adapters. Yeah.
And then I decided I was going to order a proper set.
Yes.
And I wanted the same things, just in 2-piece. Mike then convinced me to do the bronze lips. Which are nice. I was hesitant at the time, went with it.
Yes.
But he was also trying to get me to get the 3-piece ones like I have.
Yes.
I said, no, I don't have the money for the 3-piece ones.
And he said, here's a good finance deal.
No. I ordered the wheels Friday evening on my way home from college with him. I called into him and everything, ordered them. Monday at lunchtime, he rang me. Work had discontinued over the weekend, the 2-piece wheels.
Do you think they actually had discontinued
No,
them?
they have. They actually have. No, they have done. He did genuinely. We went to check. So he actually got me a good deal on the 3-piece ones. They didn't cost me what they should have cost me, but he was like able to prove. He's like, this bloke actually ordered them and then he cancelled.
That's mental.
Yeah, they're negative 52s are the rears. Like, they're ridiculous.
And they're what, like 11s?
12 and a half, I think.
12 and a half. That's 14.
12s or 12 and a half.
If they're 12 and a half and they're ET minus 52, that's 14 inches wide.
It's a can of Monster anyway, whatever.
No, but like, so what I'm saying
is,
that's 14 inches wide because like, your negative offset is pushing it out 2 inches already.
Yeah, it's mad. But they're ridiculous. They're the best way I can do is I actually ordered them above the combs. I remember, and Craig had just got the wheels for the PS13. he got a set from Japan, and I remember the wheels came out, and the lads were like, "Oh, jeez, they're never going to fit on his thing." And I go, "That's the spec I've ordered for the back of my car." I think in that set, this will tell you how wide the wheels were. The front set that he got in those 4 are the ones that are on the rear. Were on the rear of the car. He's got a different set now, but they were the set they bolted straight up and fitted to the rear of the car without any. So you can tell you how wide the backs are on mine.
It is wide, like it is,
but it has to be. It doesn't work unless you go balls to the wall.
Well, if you were static, you'd maybe be.
If it was static, I'd be in a bit.
Yeah, you'd probably be running maybe either a higher offset in your case, or maybe 11s.
Yeah,
giving yourself that inch, like.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it would have been just tapered in. And the other big thing is a lot of people do as well. They go for as wide a wheel as they can in the front, and that drives me mad because they don't get the dish.
Yes.
And it doesn't work. So, like, even though I had 10.5s on the front with the old works, there's only 8s on the front of it now. Because I was able to get so much offset. So now I have a dishy set at the front as well.
Yes.
I didn't want it to look weak at the front with just a flat face wheel.
Funny. You obviously know Niall Garrity, right? Well,
he bullied me into finishing that car because I had it half done, and he just kept annoying me to bring it up.
Good man, Niall. Yeah. Well, Niall, I remember back in the day whenever he done the Jetta Coupe. Oh, do you remember that?
I've seen it once in person. He actually brought it down here for me to a veg. Oh, I can't think of the fucking full name of it. But it is in Watergrass Hill now, and he brought it down one year.
Well, I remember when he had it, he ordered a set of like Rotiform OZT 3-piece specs, like mental money. And like I remember us at the time, like Calvin Kirby, one of my friends, had a blue Jetta, and now he has that red V8 AS.
100,
yeah, the one that's on air and all.
Yeah.
So he's nice. One of my closest friends, but he had a Sepang blue Jetta. And he was like all on like, I got like 9.5s in the front of mine, or 9s or whatever it was, which was big for that, because he got the arches pulled and all, and he's getting painted. And he was like, Niall's only running 8, and that's when Niall Garrity just turned around and goes, "You've never heard of offsets?"
Yeah.
So that's what you're saying, is you're running like an 8-inch wheel, but the offset's so mental.
Rather than my thing being here, it's over here.
So you could be running a 10, but it's like an offset of like say 15, and you don't have that much dish.
Exactly. Whereas like, to me, that didn't look right if you had massive dish in the back.
Yeah, you see that too. Like, it looks so like just out of proportion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It doesn't. It makes it feel like the front of the car isn't widened at all.
Yes, so even though
that's what I prefer to do.
Very much. No, we'll see, but that's big brain thinking.
Yeah.
Like
it annoys me a little bit. I have some pet hates. That's one of them.
Yeah, but I hear you. Like, but then if you can do the wheel math. And that's probably, to be honest, that's actually a video I would love to do. I may still consider doing that. It's just how to actually calculate some of this. Even though there's any amount of them on YouTube anyway, probably. But
do you know, Joy calculated the back one? Mike, give me what's the lowest offset they offer. Done. I'll make the rest work.
I had done
a little bit of thinking for it, but I think I originally wanted like 48 or 49. And then it was 52 was the lowest. I was like, I'll make the rest work. It'll be fine.
I remember when I done the Sierra, and it was like, because they were 10s at the time, standard body at the front, and like, these are 8, and boys talk away them scrubbing. And I was like, I'm going 10s up front here. Like,
I'll make it work.
So I made my own, drew up my own camber plates, got a fella to laser them.
Yeah.
Cut them out, put them in the car, done it. And just looked and went, needs more camber. So went back and just got the camber plates just milled out. So ended up with minus 12 camber at the front. She was mental.
Yeah.
And I remember coming till the first LZ Fest in 2022, and it's at the Kerrygold, just off the N7. Or maybe it's the M7. There's that like roundabout just before the Apple Green, and I went to turn there, and it's such a greasy roundabout, and the car just speared straight on. And I was like,
shit.
So after, I don't know, there's someone else. So
cars come and go here.
Yeah, there's never really a dull moment here, I've noticed.
No, there's another garage as well next door. You see, there's big drifters next door.
Are they actually big drifters?
He's gonna be it. So.
We're like. The thing about Cork, this is such an off like the topic podcast, but the thing about County Cork is there's so much drifting.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
This is a mental county.
Golden Circle.
I love Cork.
Yeah.
Like, I know the Cork people are obsessed with Nordy Spec, and I have no idea why. Cian Donnellan, that's who it was, told me about it. He says that Nordy Spec's a big thing down here.
And the younger.
Yeah.
So you're kind of good. It's like when you get into it, you hit a certain age and you go one way or the other.
Yeah, well,
there's no in between, lads. Like
down here's absolutely mental. Like there's just, you're talking about, even like earlier we were chatting about the juice box, and you were saying, yeah, like the first 5 cars in that video, I know where 3 of them are sitting right now.
Yeah, one of them's over there.
Like that's
how
like,
it goes.
like that's what we're dealing with. Like
Yeah.
that's absolutely batshit crazy.
And the other 2 we could be at within 10 minutes.
That's mental. Like, but here, Jane, like you think about like all the, like an ADC ADS or ADC or whatever, like all the judges from Cork, a lot of the main drivers are from Cork, like James Dean's from Cork.
It helps
the Shanahans.
that he started. You know, it helps. And then you have the likes of Darren McNamara,
Yes.
Mike Fitz.
Is your man Brian? What do you call your man? Dean Kearney. Brian Kearney.
No,
is,
he's Waterford. He's close though. He's
still monster. He's still a monster.
Like he is, but like to be fair, I'd say if you were to shoot from his place to Dean's, I think is not that far.
That's probably the same as some of the ones in the Tipperary side too.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
All like,
they're still all close together.
Yeah,
they
they're near
might be
Mallow.
in different counties, but it's probably easier for them to drive to each other than it would be to me to go up to one of them, if that makes sense.
But Cork's massive. Like,
yeah, and people don't realise that. But
yeah, but if I started, like me and my cousin done this, we done this journey once where for a charity thing where we started off at like one of the northern points of the north, Island McGee, and we drove to Crookhaven. And
God.
I tell people this, and people are like, "You're talking shit," and I'm like, "No, literally Google it, like Google Map it." 1/3 of that journey was County Cork alone.
Sure, I would, as I said, when I was going to Foss first time, I was in Sligo for the first 6 months. It's a 4.5 hour drive. 2 hours of that are in Cork, and there's another hour driving south of where I am to hit the coast, to go to the furthest away point of Cork.
If you're speaking, like,
Yeah.
perfect examples, Dion Murphy Kelly.
His halfway point to Dublin is Cork City.
Yeah. Have we got?
We have someone coming in.
Are we
here.
been interrupted? Oh,
Connor's here.
so we've just opened the door. We've been joined by someone else who I'm going to reveal in a bit. And
He's eating a sandwich.
He's eating a sandwich, and I did not know he was coming until you said earlier, and I was like, well, this guy was actually on my hit list for the podcast for fuck knows how long.
When he said hit list, I was very disappointed. I thought it was going to be something else. But anyway.
So I was like, so then he was like, oh yeah, he's coming, and I was like, fuck me, like that's a proper double whammy, like. Yeah. So pretty buzzing. So he's going to join us in a bit. I don't know actually how long we've been going for about 40 odd minutes. So.
Oh, that's not too bad. Not too bad. Is it dark outside?
No.
Oh, great.
I was wondering why I couldn't see.
Yeah. It'd be way worse if you had appeared at the window.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were talking about wheels.
We were talking about wheels. But I suppose what I want to get into really with your car is like, because it's one of my favourite builds in the country, and I know my head's like lodged up basically in your small intestine at this point, but like, like, so you say this is a car you bought for €250?
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
But E36s were starting to climb by that point. So is this where you tell me it was absolutely stone rotten, or did you just get the deal of the century?
Deal of the century.
How did you come across it?
So I actually had. So the car was originally supposed to be 2.8. I had the 2.8 engine and donor car before I had this car.
So did you buy a rolling shell?
No, I bartered a shell. I painted a drift car. In return, he gave me a car that he was going building to a drift car.
Ah.
So it was a 5-door. So
Yes.
I didn't want a 5-door, I wanted a coupe, and I always loved the Clipshot Red, which is the burgundy.
Yes.
Searching through Marketplace for parts, and here's one of them for braking in Cork. I was like, right. Message your man and goes, what's gone out of it, and will you sell the whole lot? He says, interior is gone, everything else is still there, engine seized. It's 1.6. I goes, how much you want for it? He goes, €300. I says, I'll call up there in a minute if you're around and have a look. Shook hands on 250, collected the car and gone.
That's... You got it. Yeah, you got a good deal.
And I was originally building an M3 rep. I was not building what I was building.
Felt I?
Yeah.
So like, right, so then because you've such similar processes to me, because I was originally going to do a Sierra Cosworth rep and Cosy wheels and all that too, like that was my plan, and then just went, and I haven't went as mental as you.
Yeah.
like you know,
there's Russian soldiers who haven't got as bad as I have.
So like, so obviously you said you were going to build an M3 rep, but you had a 2.8 engine sitting there.
Yeah.
At what point did you turn around and say to yourself, no, do you know what? I'm going to go absolutely.
I saw Craig Coleman's on in person. Is what happened.
Yes.
I seen it in Punchestown. It was I can't remember what was on there. It was a modified live. It was drifting on there anyway as well. I think it was running in coincides with modified live or something like that.
So Craig, this would have been
the blue one.
Yes, this would have been 4 years ago.
More.
Really?
Craig was on
15
Yeah.
when he had that car.
15
Well,
or
Craig's
16.
only maybe 19 or 20 now.
Yeah, something around that anyway.
Okay, well, it could be 5 years then.
Yeah, we said that anyway.
I know that. Modify the camera.
That's it.
Slightly.
The other fella's focusing into it. But yeah, so I seen his car in person and I just said, I'd like to build that, and I actually bought the kit off him in the end.
So that's Craig's old kit?
No, he actually, believe it or not, at 15 years old, that whore was smart enough to be selling him.
Oh yeah, well, Craig's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was selling him, and I bought a couple of other bits and pieces off him as well. He was buying and selling stuff at the time. But yeah, bought the kit, bolted it on. At this point I had all underneath the car done. It was bare metal painted back up and all that. Put the 2.8 into it, brought it as far as here.
So you put the 2.8.
Oh, the 2.8 was running.
You did actually say that. You put an engine in and took the engine out.
The 2.8 was fighting me because there was an old alarm system in it, and like most people know, plug and play BMW engine swaps are very easy done, but
Yes.
mine would not work. There was an old alarm system in it. So I had
Could
to
you
go-
have got a new ECU?
Oh no, it wasn't ECU. It was just the way it was hardwired in.
Oh,
It was
okay.
hardwired to the old ignition coil or old ignition barrel and everything. It was sickening. Got around it all. Got the engine to fire. Went class. Took it out 2 days later.
I mean, that's
You're going to see a trend here of the car lasting like 2 days and then it's gone again.
Fuck you.
Over and over and over. It's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah. But yeah,
if you haven't, our guest has sort of half revealed himself there.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting till he finishes his sandwich. But if you recognise that accent,
yeah, you should do.
you should do. I can't believe it's all three of us are here.
Yeah.
Like, this is fucking class.
But yeah, but I got it starting, and then Scott had just bought his RB S14.
Yes.
And he was like, "Doesn't it sound good?" And I was like, "Fuck you." and
how
then
much-
I went to buy an RB20 instead.
Right.
That's what I originally was going for.
You were going to go
RB20.
for an RB20.
20, yeah, because it was cheap, cheerful. I
Okay,
did not
fair.
have money for this.
No, yeah.
Still don't.
That's that. I suppose I'm looking at it going, really, but like,
yeah, it's
how much would an RB20 have even cost at that stage?
around 300, 400 quid.
Yeah, okay.
I bought the RB25 for 12.
So, and this was when roughly? COVID, pre-COVID.
It was after COVID. It was probably 2021. We were allowed go places, but that was about it.
That's cheap-ish.
Oh,
I mean,
it was an in engine. It wasn't a DET.
okay,
It was a
right.
DE.
was-
So I
okay,
ended up
well.
that's how it ended up going further. I was originally just going bolting on the turbo parts, and it was just going to be standard power. And then rang
You don't
Andrew
do
Kenner.
standard.
He called me a spanner down the phone and told me that the engine would be chocolate unless I built it.
yeah. Well,
So I
yeah.
went, right, so we're down this rabbit hole. Off we go. And 3 years later, I have just under 500 horsepower RB25 sitting in an E36.
So, to paint the picture, what we have is a wide body.
Pandem.
Pandem, sorry.
There's a few different wide bodies. Most people go for Felony Farm, which is the slightly accentuated arch, standard arch shape.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
It's
that's
still
fair.
nice. I actually would nearly buy another one and build one of them as well. But
Do you think you have E36 disease?
yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
I was onto when I wanted one as my first car. I nearly bought a 1.7 diesel one.
A 1.7 diesel E36.
36 coupe, yeah.
I didn't
It
even know
was
that.
a weird one at the time when I found it.
I didn't not even know that existed.
I don't know where this thing came from. It was the strangest thing I'd ever seen. I was there like, that would be so cool. On the insurance, Vectory told me get fucked. They weren't going doing it.
And was the plan always to go for air raid as well?
No.
Oh,
And this is one of those things of go spend the money. I was going doing coilovers, didn't have the money for air, couldn't justify it.
Yeah.
Then I started looking at the cheap air kits.
Yeah.
And I was like, this, that, and then was warned off them. And I thought,
100%.
this will be it. But thankfully, as I said, I'm spray painter, so effectively what happened was I painted a car. The sum I was handed nearly equaled the price of the air, and I just went, fuck it, and ordered it, and just bought
That's the right decision.
air. Yeah.
As someone who ran hydraulics, it's not the job for a car with over 400 horsepower.
That car is comfy as hell. My missus we went for the proper spin around Dublin with it, and she says it's actually grand, was her word. But in comparison to the way a car that looks and acts like it doesn't drive the same way.
The problem I had was no mechanical grip. So because it was so, well, I had none of that. So basically, when we were driving down to the second year we were driving, well, both years we were driving down to LZ Fest.
Yeah,
it was pissing. Both times we went down, it was an absolute washout. 2022 and 2023, and all I had to do was literally tap the throttle on my car, and she would just kick.
Yeah,
because she just would spin. There was no mechanical grip. Like, so the tires were ditch finders as well.
Yeah, that doesn't help. No, like mine grips first, second, third will kill you. Strangely enough, whatever. I found that out the hard way. Pointed
maybe
for a ditch.
It's a time where speed is
yeah. It whatever way it works out, third will kill you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what setup?
Now that I'm not drove it enough to find out anymore, maybe fifth will kill you too. But.
So then so you've got an RB25 engine. What turbo?
Jack Kelly helped me out here. We figured it out earlier.
We figured it.
I originally had a Garrett.
It's a Pulsar G3770.
That one.
Yeah.
I originally had a Garrett, but that lasted 2 dyno sessions and a wedding.
Was it a Garrett or was it a...
No, it was a Garrett. I bought it off Group T. It was brand new in the box.
And that would have cost you a pretty penny.
Yeah, that's one of the mistakes. That's probably the biggest contributor in the mistakes. Being from earlier. Sorry, I'm going too far away from the microphone again. I think at the time it was around the 2.5. And it did the dyno run. Did a couple of dyno runs. It drove for one of the lads' weddings, and on the way home the day after it shit itself.
That would make you sick.
Oh yeah.
Any warranty, anything?
Tried. It was getting oil in the top, wasn't letting oil through, but they put it down to blockage. Even the oil got as far as the turbo. It was through the top of the turbo. Even one of the mechanics looked at it in Group D and went, "The fuck!" Like, so it was sent over to Germany or England or something. In here, it unfortunately just came back. Well, Mike said you can go chasing if you want, but at the time, Mr. Jack Kelly got me a nice deal on a Pulsar.
Pulsar's literally like...
I got more power out of the Pulsar.
Yeah. Pulsar's like a quarter of the price.
And I'm on boost 300 RPM earlier.
That's class. I've seen such a difference when I changed the turbo as well. What gearbox?
530D E39.
Oh, you're running... Yeah. So I'm running probably your old 328.
Yeah.
I'm running that.
Oh, yeah.
5-speed. No, you done the right thing.
Yeah. My weak point is the diff. And I know that, and I'm happy knowing that, because at least in the drive... Well, actually, never mind. The clutch was the weak point. I thought that diff was...
Do you have a paddle clutch in yours?
No.
Oh, that is a weak point.
She's literally...
Or do you have a twin plate?
Nope.
Oh.
She was the Sax one or something. It came with the kit. It was supposed to be rated for... Like, it came with a PMC adapter kit.
Yeah, but
it was supposed to be rated for... It wasn't.
No.
I'll send you a picture so you can pick up what exactly happened to the clutch with this too. But
you need a paddle clutch.
No.
No? Twin plate?
No.
What are you going to do?
A competition sprung clutch.
What's the difference between a paddle clutch and a competition sprung clutch?
The bite won't be as aggressive for road driving.
See, I have a sprung paddle clutch in mine, and it's not as bad. I had an unsprung paddle clutch until it blew the centre.
That's an on and off switch. Like, that's what you had.
It was so bad.
And that's what I don't want.
I had that welded diff.
The car is surprisingly drivable, as I say, for how it is.
It used to be with the welded diff and the unsprung clutch. Whenever I was changing down gears, the car would jump to the other side of the road, so I had to sit and rev match. So I'd be changing and blipping and rev matching. So whenever I changed down, it didn't like kick me about the show.
So that's the reason I don't. I'd rather blow this one up first.
Yes.
Again, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just keep it drivable, because I do want to drive this whenever it's working right. Despite this fucker's smart comments.
Well, we're going to bring him in now.
Yeah,
so
might as well.
You finished your sandwich, haven't you?
The Germans are here.
So we have Aaron Fleming from RetroGarage has kind of like taken over our podcast. You're a weird version of Conor.
What do you mean? In what sense?
You don't have the northern accent.
Hey.
So I can talk like this.
Please don't follow if you don't like. Something like that.
Normally, obviously, I have my co-host Conor here when we're interviewing, and now it feels like I'm actually being interrogated.
You kind of are.
To be fair, look, we can do that if you want.
He is German.
That's not where I was going. I only came to service my car.
Are you actually going doing that? I'm not helping.
Please.
No, we have somewhere to go after this.
Where are you going?
He won't tell me.
Servicing a car. Will you service my car with me?
No, do you want it broke?
I mean, it's the same way it's already
if you want to put it back together with several less bolts, absolutely.
The lightweight edition.
So I didn't expect this is going to be a really long podcast. I didn't expect this. So we've had Jack. I suppose now we may chime into you as well, Aaron. So
He has nothing interesting to offer.
No, I have nothing.
No, not definitely.
Just
not.
ask him about his car.
Fuck
again.
off.
So like,
I know where you're going.
so if you ever
Go on, no, go on.
so
Just
if you ever
use
look
that
at
hand up
Jack's
to protect your face.
so Jack's car is amazing piece of work, like incredible piece of work. It's a piece of work.
Yep.
But it's an incredible piece of work. But he made one really critical decision.
For those of you who are listening on Spotify and giving him the finger,
That just means hello, I love you.
yeah.
Apparently, if we're going by salutes these days.
You got a couple of them on the roll up too, so.
But anyway, if you ever look under the bonnet of his car,
Yes.
he got a smaller brake fluid reservoir. Incredible, like, you know, it's really cool. How much was it?
€300.
€300 to clear the turbo on the RB. What side is the turbo sitting
I
on
was
the RB?
about to say is that
This is when I had the notion of putting a Jay-Z in as well.
Yeah. So he loads of room. Yeah, look, at least
I
you still
cleared
fit in
space for
it.
turbo that was on the other
Yeah.
side of the car, effectively.
Yeah.
So, he's trying to get
so what I'm hearing is you're going to put a supercharger.
Yeah.
on the other side.
On the other
I
side.
hope. What I've done is put my oil filter there so that to service the car I can literally just screw it off.
Yes. No, I've seen that done before.
Yeah,
It's handy.
it works brilliantly because I have to do 2 oil changes now.
Yeah, no, I need
I
service.
drove the car 250 miles, I'd say, or kilometres. I've done 3 oil changes.
Well, it could be worse. You could
And a gearbox and a clutch and turbo.
You could do an oil change spend because Castrol was so hard to get at the time and they ran the price of Castrol, spend £103 in
Johnny mentioned
Castrol.
Castrol because he's here. Johnny mentioned Castrol because he's here.
No, I actually genuinely was using Castrol.
John Castro.
If you can get me Castrol for cheap, absolutely. Spent £103 on Castrol oil, serviced the car on Tuesday night, took it to work on the Wednesday, turbo blew on the Thursday. So just serviced the car and then the turbo blew
You're like
the
myself.
day before Donegal Rally.
Nice.
Mint.
Yeah. That was the year I think you got squirted in the face by Scotty Ferno.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in the podcast as well.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Scotty's lucky the German didn't come out in him.
I think by the time he'd
Are we done with the German jokes? Are we
Are you
just
done with
getting
making
started?
fun of my car?
Yeah, fair. Deal.
So
You can see how nothing ever gets done in this shit.
yeah, that makes absolute sense. It's funny though.
What? Oh, this is all that happens here. It's
Yeah.
one fella's working on his car in the lift, the rest of us are ripped the
I
piss out
heard
of
the
him.
lift just go up, so that means
Yeah.
I'm not putting anything on the
I
lift
can
for
say
the
I
next
was
2
at the
hours.
door coming down.
Yeah.
It was one of the two.
Doesn't say, yeah, I don't think you're going to be. You
Yeah.
can come with us to go and visit this other place that he won't tell me about.
I don't even know where you're going.
You know Jack Mulcahy?
I know of him.
Oh,
But I've never been to his place.
Oh, yeah, I have him on social media.
There you go. So that's where we're going.
Yeah.
There you go now, Jack. We're coming for you. He texted me to say his mother has tea and sandwiches made and everything. Well, not the tea. I hope she has the tea made. I'd be fucking welcome.
Here you go. It's a bit cold, but sure.
Yeah. They
So-
like that. It's modern.
Well, yeah, I suppose. So, well, I want to chat to you for about obviously now, Orange, saying as you're here.
Okay.
We have drop it. Mic drop. I wasn't expecting this, and as I said, I was planning on getting you at another stage. But since you're here,
We'll definitely do another one.
Absolutely.
Don't let this turn that off. It's a long old spin though.
what?
You to come down this way.
Yeah, but
so
I would-
hopefully I'll be up your side of the country at some point. And
We'll
we
get
can,
it figured out. We can
Yeah.
do a part 2. But
Yeah.
so we'll do a quick recap, because then it'll be obviously don't want to exclude Jack for too long.
Yeah, I'll be low on there.
Don't worry, Jack.
I'll start pulling stuff off the walls here.
Or you can
show and
basically
tell.
you can become Connor and we'll both interview.
Okay.
Or-
I would.
He doesn't want me to interview because I know some other shit. I know the questions to ask.
That sounds
Like, how did your fight with Hyundai go today?
How did your fight with Hyundai go today?
To be fair, my sister's car has been kept till Thursday.
Oh, they surely fixed it.
Yeah, they put me on hold and they actually hung up on me. Yeah, they hung up on me, and then they told my sister that the car's kept till Thursday. So, look, if she's getting a bill, we'll be doing a bit more fighting. But
We'll figure it out.
yeah, until then, Hyundai, we're sound.
Okay. Until Thursday.
After that,
After Thursday, fuck you,
we'll
Hyundai.
see.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, how obviously there's so much to unpack here at RetroGarage, like, but we'll just, I know you've, and if anyone wants to properly listen and hear a better podcast talk about it, Aaron talks about this in Drift Games podcast. But to go into it again, how did you
Game dropping.
how did you
TikToks of IS200s.
really?
No,
That sounds like kind of
TikToks of twin cams. To be fair, I think that's kind of
TikTok love twin cams.
what.
Did you just say TikTok loves twin cams?
No, TikToks. That's how I started.
Oh, sorry.
See, he's trying to derail me already. I derail his podcast, and then he tries to derail me already.
this podcast
fight.
was never on the rails. This
Fair.
podcast has been a train
Fair.
wreck from the very get go.
Can you overlay Ozzy Osbourne Crazy Train?
So you started off because you sort of came on my radar probably what 2-3 years ago. You said it was just after COVID or maybe during COVID.
I think it was COVID. What was it? Yeah, I moved back from London in 2020, March 2020.
That's right, you were living in London.
What you call it? It was the year after. So, like, RetroGarage as an idea has existed since, like, 2018, but I never did much with it. I made one, like, pilot episode with Simon Dean, with the Pajero Evo, and then I did...
Is that the red one?
No, the silver one.
Oh, I don't
There's
know
a
if I've
video.
seen that
It was
one.
the first ever video of, like, a Pajero Evo on YouTube at the
Yes.
time, and I'll stand over that. Like Donut Media, all of them, they did videos after me on it, but that was way before I actually had like time or funds or ability to do RetroGarage, and RetroGarage only kind of existed at the time because I worked in marketing and I basically wanted to force insurance companies' hand to give me classic insurance on my Coupe Quattro when I was 21, 22.
So what? He's a bit like Lamborghini. He started RetroGarage out of spite.
Out of spite, yeah.
Literally, that's
Yeah.
that's
And now insurance companies sponsor me.
it was all an elaborate ruse.
Yeah, that's all he's been at. One big insurance scam.
That's going to be a soundbite now. That's just going to be one soundbite now and taken out of context completely.
100%.
I've never had a claim.
And it will be by me.
I've never even lied. Remember my car almost got... Do you remember when I was too honest with declaring modifications?
Oh wow!
Got an engineer's report and everything, and the classic insurance company came
Just
back,
said, "Fuck
and they were
you."
on the drive back. They took so long to get back to me that at this point, then I was up in Donegal, and then I was in Bunratty on the way back down, and they were like, "Yeah, we can't insure your car anymore." And
But he was telling him about fucking different colour bolts nearly. Like he was declaring
I'm German.
everything.
the rules is the rules.
You were late, so you're not that German.
I'll be on there in a half hour. Hour later, he left his house. No, it's longer. It's an hour and a half.
You know what I'm like.
That's what I said to him too.
See,
He said
the thing
he
is-
said that exact thing. He's not very German, is he?
No, see, I've the worst mix of both. It'll be done on time tomorrow.
You've such OCD with no time conception.
He gets in the way,
yeah.
He gets in the way of
It's
it.
OCD mixed with it'll be grand. It's like
That is the perfect German-Irish combination.
Yeah.
How do you like deal with that on a regular basis? That attitude of your
I thought you were going to say
I don't.
German.
I don't. I think that's why I have ADHD.
Yeah.
I think it all just kind of like
that makes
that's the
the difference.
diagnosis for like both of those two things together, being Irish and German.
See,
ADHD.
I would classify myself as a lazy perfectionist because I want something done right, but don't have the time and patience to actually do it right. So I'll like attempt everything, and then I get like bored, and then I go through it, and then I rush it, and then I hate myself. So like that's kind of how I do things.
That's very familiar.
I'm kind of on the same line as you. I have full intentions and know exactly how I'm going to do it,
But I
not
get
on time focus.
really disappointed then if something doesn't happen on time.
Yeah. It's
You know,
your
like-
own fault after.
Yeah, it definitely is. How many times have I been disappointed I haven't got the S6 manual swapped for a rally?
He had it stripped and put it back together. Actually, yeah, he was here one night. He was taking it apart, and then I got a phone call. I'm putting it all back in. I want to drive it again.
I know a fellow who manual swapped an S8.
Yeah.
You should maybe it's William Brown.
His one's fairly similar process. To be fair, the worst part of actually swapping my S6 is it's a ball ache to get the pedal box out.
Okay.
It's like across the steering rack and there's other stuff in the way. But that's all I really need to do. But the thing is, I was here 2 nights, let's say, trying to take out the pedal box. And I think I was moving house the next week, and then I was going to Vancouver, and then Donegal Rally was like 2 days after I get back from Vancouver. I was like, this isn't gonna, like, either I put the car back together now, or I'm not gonna have a car for Donegal. And I was like, I'll put it back together now. That's probably the smart idea.
And it's never been taken apart since.
No.
Did you put it?
I bought another one instead. Have you not seen his TikToks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Rather than manual swap one, you'll buy another.
Actually, to be
automatic
fair,
one.
most of Aaron's TikToks are this.
I bet you.
What car am I driving today?
To be fair, most of the time,
It's always old.
it's always old. It's always a BMW. It's.
Well, it was naughty for a long time as well.
I actually rarely do stuff with Audis. It's like because
As much as he loves them, they don't like him.
Because I spend so much time with my own ones, I actually rarely actually film other Audis because I'm like, who'd give a shit about that? Because I love them so much, but because I love them so much, I don't want to be that annoying person that just constantly just does
Regurgitates things about Audis.
the one thing I really like. So I go into like doing different things. Like for example, recently did a couple of videos with Mercedes what is it? W124 or S124, the 320T. Did a couple of videos with that, and I was like, this isn't doing well. Like my page must be fecked now. You know, that's me done. And it just turns out people actually don't like S124s as them or W124s as they make out online. It's the same with Porsches. Everyone loves Porsches, but because there's so much Porsche content, nobody watches Porsche content.
Funny, I actually found that happened to me recently. Like, so I done a video. I've started in a few YouTube videos, and like the ones that seem to work is like the turbocharger in my tractor.
Yeah.
But I did like a Donegal Rally, 2024, a King of the Cone accidental documentary is what I called it. And for my standards, it done really well.
Yeah.
So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to go to Tyrone, go all out, video the whole thing, try and make a really good thing of Tyrone, do the same format as what I did with Donegal, go around, interview people, have the crack. Again, because there's so many drift outlets and so many different forms of drift media, my video just falls into the abyss. Whereas whenever you're talking about something that's not seen in the media as much, i.e. diffing, other than maybe some lad's phone of like a really blurry clip of someone trying to diff at like a crossroads and then escaping to the border, like, you know, you don't get that more, I don't want to say professional because my stuff's not professional, but you don't get that sort of high level sort of stuff.
But like I guess that goes back to even like why I started RetroGarage, and like at the time there was nobody really even in the UK space doing much when it comes to like old cars. You know, and it was kind of at the time I watched loads of Petrolicious, and I thought RetroGarage back in 2018 when I first came up with the idea, I was like, it's going to be like Petrolicious and it's going to be loads of YouTube videos, and YouTube's where it's going to live. And sure enough, then like the short form content, like that stuff took off, and that did well. And like that's why even we know each other, why all of us know each other is because of short form.
So how we actually met Aaron was I invited him to the first show that we had in Clan. He was just starting off.
And that's how at the West Cork Rally.
Because
and then I tried to get him to do drifting content. Didn't work.
But I can understand why you wouldn't do drifting content, because it's not your, but like your audience isn't aligned with that.
Look at TikTok back in 2021. Like TikTok was full of, you know, it was full of young lads filming IS200 tuning rings, and like there was at the time there was a lot of talk about rings. There was a lot of talk about reek and all of that. And while that would have been incredibly easy views, but it would have been easy views.
Careful.
If I said fucking reek,
and I just said, hey, careful.
Anyway, moving swift because I don't know what you're actually talking about.
Reek?
What?
You don't know what reek is?
What?
The fucking Egypt's putting their faces in front of
I know what that is.
Right.
What did you think I was talking about?
I was just giving out about it.
Oh, fair.
Kind of like as in
no, reek's just black smoke.
Yeah. But it's the just putting their face in front of the problem.
But anyway, there was enough lads making videos about that, and it was easy views, but there was nobody actually talking about cars at the time in Ireland. Like, look, Jason was there, Bob was there, but they were also in their own kind of little niches. And I was like, do you know what? Like, I want to talk about the cars that I really love. I'm really lucky that, you know, I was able to buy the likes of the Coupe Quattro, you know, for fairly cheap at the time. You know, put every penny into it. I was still driving a 1.4 Mark IV Golf, and here I was with like...
Same as you with the Leon.
See, 1.4s are easier to insure.
Yeah, and I still driving that car. But here I had like 2 years I had a 1991 Coupe Quattro sitting outside the door that I couldn't drive, and I was like, I want to make videos about that because I want young lads to kind of look. There's nothing wrong with young lads being into stuff like IS200s and Break, whatever anyone's into, but I was like, you know, variety is the spice of life.
Yes.
And the more different outlets and the more different cars I can show and highlight that are out there and maybe give a little bit of a platform to, the more we can kind of get more people into these old cars, because you know there's no point in these cars rotting away in fields and ditches.
Completely
I think that's one of the biggest shames. And young lads, yes, insurance is terrible, you know, it's tough. Ireland is a terrible country to be in when it comes to cars, but if you actually jump that hurdle, if you do go beyond that, it's such a rewarding place. Because I always say, like, look, I spend a lot of my time in Germany, the UK, and especially the UK at the moment again, and I don't think I'd like to live over there or in either of them. Like, yes, it's a lot easier for cars and you don't have VRT and all that, but you can't really stand out.
Yeah,
you know.
I also think the UK car culture is just a lot worse, and I know there's UK listeners. I think like
it's more finance boys.
Well, no, not even.
I agree with you. There is a certain subset, and I think there's a couple of different subsets. One is the very high end. You know, you have the hypercars.
Yes.
Then you have the high end classic cars like the Singers of the world, the the Ferrari Testarossas, all of that you'll regularly see at like random Cars and Coffees in London or wherever, or Caffeine and Machine. Incredible. Really like amazing cars, and you get to know those people. They're completely normal people. And then you get like the people who are like me and like us, you know, we love the old cars. We're kind of a little bit in some ways reserved. Like, we don't need to be, well, I don't know about G, but we don't need to be the one who kind of, you know, makes the biggest show in a Tesco car park at 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night.
No.
So
I might do it by mistake.
but like so that's us. And then but the vast majority of the UK car scene is then the kind of the middle, and to be fair, I don't think that's even my audience. You know, it's the M140i's, it's the cliche cars, it's the S3s, the M140s, Fiesta STs, M140i's, those kind of cars. And the problem is, like, the people are kind of correlating that to like Max Power era, but the thing is, in the Max Power era, people put so much time, effort, and money for it still only to be a 1.2. Yeah, it's like do you know what? You weren't causing any like badness. Whereas now it's all like, oh, draggy times. You also have what you call it, and like if your car is cool, it's not your work, it's a remap. It's someone else somewhere has coded that, and someone else has then, you know, plugged it in and uploaded that software to your ECU.
I just know from like watching, like, I don't watch it often, but like Adam C occasionally occurs up because he does a lot of stuff of videoing people leaving meets and stuff. Yeah. And if you
he doesn't really do a whole bit of that anymore. No. It's weirder what he's doing.
The thing is, well, not weird in ways, and like, look, I respect what Adam C is doing, and I like watching his videos. But in essence, those kind of things, you know, I think, and it's even come true to Ireland, and I think it even, what you call it, you see it on TikTok, the amount of young lads who want fame, and like, look, I'm not saying I have fame or anything, you know, I have a nice number that sits on my profile. It doesn't make you happier. It doesn't change things. It opens doors. It definitely opens doors, but you need to make sure that you're different and you break out from others. If there's 20 of you standing at an exit, all getting the same clip, and you're all uploading it with the same hashtags, none of you are going to stand out.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I'm kind of like, I wish there was a little bit more, like, it's easy to document. It's harder to have your own take and your own say. Yep. Even if that, like, I'm quite aggressively anti-EV at times. I'm at the moment, I just put out my 7.5 minute TikTok video about
7.5 minutes.
Yeah, about why the RSA
YouTube. TikTok's short videos.
Yeah, basically 7.5 minute rant about why the RSA is kind of completely missing the ball when it comes to road traffic at the moment and road safety at the moment. So like, you know, it's kind of, there's a lot to be said for having some kind of a voice, even if it's not the voice that appeals to everyone.
Yeah,
there's a lot to be said for that, and I think those are the kind of things that'll move. That's why I enjoy the fact that you do the podcast. You know, we all have our own taste in cars.
Yeah.
You know, I can appreciate what you like. Jack can't appreciate anything. But aside from that, and like you see this in Japan a lot as well. I see a lot of people talking about what's happening to Japanese car culture and the fact that like there's so many people who are YouTubers or Instagram like me.
Yeah.
Like inevitably when I do go over to Japan, I want to document some of that because it's a lot of effort for me to get there.
And same.
And I want to do it in a fly on the wall way. Because I don't want to stand in the middle of the road. I don't want to be the hero. I don't care about.
But even they're getting
hero.
more secretive now.
Yeah, and even they're getting. And that's kind of like, you know, in some ways, it's like that whole thing of like, I watch kettle. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. But a watch kettle never boils. And the idea that like, by the fact that it's being observed and being filmed and all of this is kind of making a lot of stuff like this actually fade away into even more obscurity and disappear.
It's a case of don't meet your heroes.
I think
it's happening. It does happen.
Yeah, let it happen.
Let it happen. If you're not the one out watching it, it's because you haven't met the right circle yet.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, that's a very good point actually, because I think a lot of this is the more you do post about this and the more it comes to, so like for instance, if there's something like there was a thing organised recently, kind of like in a yard down near where I live, and I was like, look, the police never bothered it for the first while, and I was like, look, if you're going to do it, lads, do it like once a month, every 6 weeks. Yeah. When it happens,
space it out.
You know, it's plenty of space. When it's plenty of space, there's a lot of room for people to park, and there's a few boys mess about. And look, I'm all on for people messing about off the road, like you know, because for every mile of road, there's 2 miles of ditches, hedges, and curbs.
Yeah.
So you know, like in a sort of in a wide open space like that, I'm all on for a bit of practice, and just don't try and be an absolute hero. Always get the fuck out. But I was like, do it like every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks, so you're just not creating a lot of noise in the area. It's not bringing too much attention to the area. And then the next thing, it was every week, and I was like, guys, and then the next thing, suddenly the police are all over the town, and I was like, you know, and everybody's posting videos about it. I'm like, this is what the problem is everybody's posting videos, everybody's like showing off, going amazing. For their 15 minutes or 15 seconds of fame, as you say, and then it shuts it down.
And like that's the thing, like, you know, if you look at what I do on a surface level, it's talking about cars, and I obviously love cars, but underneath it all, I have this kind of like longing for the glory days of the car scene. Like that's what my deep down longing is, that like we can all enjoy this as like, you know, get back those glory days. And especially like, you know, as we move into, you know, we'll get more and more regulations, we'll get EVs being pushed on us more and more. We have to keep that safe, but we need to keep that kind of like community safe in a...
I don't know what your big thing with the EVs is.
Why?
If everyone drives electric, there's more petrol for us.
Fair.
And I was burning to ask this earlier before I end up, pardon me, going off my tangent, but one of the things I was actually thinking of was, you say about this whole thing about keeping like the kind of the cars alive and keeping the scene alive. Is part of that because you're what, 28, 29?
Yeah.
Right? So you're the same age as him, and I'm old as fuck because I'm 31.
What's it like in the other decade?
Horrible.
We have a new person to bully. We have someone to bully. He's
as old as my cars.
Get closer to the microphone, he can't hear you.
What? So, like, I'm wondering, like, we're obviously of that kind of generation, like, before that, where we lived in a time where for the first few years of our life, like, we didn't have internet.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't, like, your TVs were still as broad
that's
as
the fucking the fucking dial up.
And like TVs were like literally they extended as far back as they were wide. We still had VHS, you know, and we're still kind of this mechanical electro era where, you know, we didn't have touch screens, phones still had buttons, and we grew up in that time period, and that's why I wonder, do we still look at the older cars and go, no, we need to keep these alive? Is that because it's something that we long for, because we look back at then and go, it was a simpler time, and these cars represent a simpler time to us?
So I had this thought a couple of days ago, and I actually started scripting a video about this, and the big part for me that I realised about myself is we live in times where the future doesn't feel optimistic, at least for me. The future
feels dystopian.
Yeah, it feels dystopian. It doesn't feel optimistic. Whereas if we look back at like videos or films or like whatever rose-tinted vision of like the 80s, the 90s and the early 2000s, there's a deep positivity up until the recession hit.
Yes,
there was a there was a lot of positivity. We also had a very different world where, like, you know, there wasn't social media, there wasn't pressures, there wasn't all of these extra things. And like, look, I'm the product of, like, you know, I've done well because of social media.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think that if it wasn't for social media, I'd still be out doing similar things. I'd just be with a film camera. And like, for me, the old cars, the kind of shooting photos on film, like, even though it makes no sense for me to do video on film like in an old way, but I do use VHS the odd time.
Someone that's really cool, Night Raid do that occasionally as well. It looks class.
But like, all my photography is all shot on film because I'm like, do you know what, I have a longing for that era where things felt optimistic, even cars felt optimistic.
I never thought about that. That's not something that ever come into my mind, and you're so right.
Because like, look, I've been very lucky the last year. A couple of brands have brought me to like press launches, and each one you're just like, they're talking absolute bollocks.
Yeah,
they're talking like, look, Skoda have been a brand that's been really good to me.
All his sponsorships disappear.
to be fair, like, Skoda have been a brand that's been really good to me, and I really enjoy working with them because their cars feel kind of, you know, normal. Like, they're not pie in the sky thinking, like, they're like, no, this is actually a sensible car for that person.
Yes.
And I remember being at one of their car launches last year, and they brought back physical knobs and dials for heater controls, and I was like
so
that makes so much sense. Like, fair play for being the ones that's kind of broken the mold. Like, yes, you know, touchscreens seemed great and they were cheaper,
but like, couldn't use when you're driving.
This is the thing, right? So
coming from a man who has the touchscreen.
Yeah.
So one of my so I have an Amarok. Yeah. It's 2018. Yeah. And one of my close friends, Adam, has a Golf R, also 2018. His Golf R has, like, it's pretty much all touchscreen.
Yeah.
And then, like, he was talking about even getting like a Tiguan section that apparently bolts straight in and makes the whole thing completely electric. Meanwhile, the Amarok, because it's a commercial vehicle, I still have heater control knobs. Yeah. At least I can just go.
But you can do it without taking your eyes off the road.
100%. Whereas,
but again,
it's too hot.
The reason that I feel like a lot of us look backwards to that era is because we don't see much hope for the future. Like, even making that video about the RSA today, it really got me thinking of how, you know, what is the end goal? Because, like, you look at, you know, everyone driving around and, you know, in big heavy electric, or even if it's not electric, big heavy cars, and it's like you're driving around in 2-ton tanks. You know, you've people like, you know, people like our parents driving around in 2-ton tanks with 400 horsepower at their disposal immediately, and it's like,
do you know, fun thing from a man who sells them?
What?
Most of those big ones, most people will need the category C license to drive them soon.
Yeah,
seriously,
because they're over the weight limit.
As soon as you put people in them, a lot of them.
If you fill like EV9, whatever other big ID5s and all those, if you full it, you're over your weight limit on your license.
But like, it feels tough to know where we're going to go. Are we going to have a great reset where all cars are banned and outlawed, and we start again, and we all start with small little hatchbacks again? Like, look at the 80s and 90s. Look at the cars that we all love from that era. Group B. Like, Group B was the pinnacle of engineering.
Start them on it.
Had nothing.
I'll happily have this conversation all night. I love Group B.
Do you have a man waiting for us?
I absolutely adore Group B as well.
100%.
And like, for me, that was the pinnacle of like, you know,
not
technology.
giving a fuck.
Yeah, not giving a fuck.
But you had the 80s, you had the Group B, even though they got banned, the Group A's were still cool. But you had like touring car racing, like BTCC.
Because they had something linked with the car. And I had this thought on the drive down, as well as, like, you know, the masses, the general public was into cars because it it was the thing you watched. Look, everyone watches football now, and I don't. But other people, normal people, apparently watch football.
Yeah, so I nod it here, but I don't watch football.
But like back in the day, you get the feeling that there was a lot more people watching, rallying, or they just have an intrigue, and because of that, they had an interest in cars and were proud of the car they had outside the door. Or, you know, think of our grandparents, and even if they had the bog spec car, they were proud of whatever they had outside the door.
See, the other
now
thing,
it's just signing a PCP.
The other thing with that is you could also buy the car that was on the television.
Yeah,
is the other thing.
Sell out, or what you call it, race on Sunday, sell on Monday.
Yeah.
Like, again, those exciting links don't exist anymore. Like, you look at Formula 1, and yes, Formula 1 is getting a lot more.
Look at the size of the cars. Look at Monaco.
Yeah.
Monaco is on the calendar because it's a prestigious event, and like, at the same time, if they were like Monaco axed, I'd be like, oh no, they've axed Monaco. Like, what a disgrace. At the same time, I'm also like, Monaco nearly doesn't deserve a race in the calendar, because whoever qualifies in pole, unless they crash, they're winning.
Yeah, they can't get past.
Like, I genuinely feel like we should have a big reset of these things. Like, for example, WRC, I think just scrap Rally 1 and just do Rally 2 and let it build up again to a Group B era kind of.
Because we have the safety for that now.
That goes above it. So scrap Rally 1 for a while, do Rally 2 only, because Rally 2 is almost more competitive.
Yep.
And then let something else develop for those that don't want to just be in Rally 2. Likewise, Formula 1, I think, do you know what? Scrap the top level, Formula 1, drop it down a level to Formula 2, and maybe, do you know what, let's restart. Let's go back to like inline 4 BDA style engines, or like link back to kind of like the way it was with BDA engines.
Yeah.
Do inline 4 turbo engines, and then let's have the manufacturers themselves be like, actually no, we want bigger engines, we want more. And I feel like the problem is the pinnacle is so high that there's nowhere to go beyond it.
Yeah.
I think we need to actually scrap the pinnacle of all of these different forms of motorsport and restart, because that's then
Starting into new
you
technology.
actually could be onto something there. Now, I'm sure between the three of us in a shed in Cork, we're not really going to figure that out. But
we will.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I like
There's no problem.
positivity.
There's
That's what
no
I'm
problem.
saying.
We'll figure something out.
It
mightn't be the
that
answer.
actually makes sense, because then you have a yearning. You have a longing to try and go for, and that's what Group B was.
Yeah.
It was like, can you be lighter, faster? Okay, then Lancia came out with the twin charged, the Delta S4, which was, you know, and that at the time it was like, holy shit. Ford done the RS200, which literally had double coilover, like double spring suspension and all that.
Think of at the time, late 80s, late 70s, early 80s, you had like everything was rear-wheel drive, and you know, it was an interesting rally, was an interesting space, but it wasn't quite there yet. And then you had my favourite brand, Audi, with the Quattro, like something that really rings true with me, with a car that shouldn't have made sense in motorsport. It was heavy. The engine was all the way over the front axle. It had 5 cylinders. It had a turbo. It had all of these things going that were new technology, and it didn't actually meet any of the regulations. But Audi was like, oh, can we actually just run it just for fun?
I think they did it as a pace car originally.
And they changed the regulations because they ran it for fun for a year or two.
Yeah.
And they built, so Group B only existed because Audi was like, actually, we don't really like that thing you're already doing. Can we do something new?
Yeah.
We don't care if we don't get points, we don't care if we don't win, whatever. We just want to do something new. And that built a whole new class. And I think because the top level is so high, there's no room for that to happen.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to suddenly get BMW enter it, or, you know, not that they're doing much at the moment. You're not going to suddenly get a new brand entering Rally 1 being like, actually lads, I think I can do better. Can we make a new thing?
It's one of them things where, and I don't know how to describe it, because I look at like let's take a 205 T16 for a perfect example, and I look at it and go, like, that's class. And then you've got, so then like you have like now the 205, and you look at the 205 and even the GTA, and you're like, that's class, look at that. And then at the same, and then like, oh, you know, you had that was such exciting era, and now you have like in the rallying, well, like, I mean, I don't even follow rallying much anymore, but like, you know,
it's
like
copy pasta. Yeah,
but you know, like, you've got like Hyundai A20, and you know, or is it the Citroen still have the DS3?
They're not in Rally 1 anymore.
No, okay, so like,
so it's literally Hyundai, Toyota, and Ford M Sport.
Okay,
and Ford M Sports is a mid-size, a crossover SUV that actually has nothing to do with the rally car.
Yeah, so this is the problem. And well, to be fair, Toyota with the GR Yaris,
they tried.
That was class.
Yeah,
and I wish they'd done the GR Corolla in this country, because they're class too.
Did you know there's an older GR Yaris?
There's a.
I got to look at it today.
I didn't even know that existed. But
I didn't either.
It's front wheel drive.
Oh, I know the one you're on about. Yeah.
Has a GR badge.
That's it. It's yeah.
Never knew they existed.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
I knew they existed. It's just a Yaris GR. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
a GR
just-
Yaris.
Or
Like literally, when I was over in Indonesia, every second Toyota was a GR. Or no, sorry, a TRD. They were all TRD.
Yes.
They're all TRD over there. Because it's just a kit.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I should in turn look at them A20 Hyundais and go, well, a normal Hyundai A20's class, because look at what they do in
My sister definitely did not have that thought process when she bought her i20.
That's the reason it's leaking oil. She's been jumping it up while it's gap.
But it's just, to me, I just feel like the rally cars today don't
reflect
they don't just resonate
But
with me.
I think that's the thing. There's such a disconnect. And I think that's, again, going back to the optimism thing, there's such a disconnect between what's happening at the top end and what's happening for us.
Yeah.
You know, let's take, look, one of the cars I film quite frequently, two of them that I'm going to mention, E30 M3 and Mercedes 190 Evo or Evo 2. I love filming both of those types of cars. They were competitors. I love, you know, I've been very lucky to spend time with both of them, or all three of Evo, Evo 1, Evo 2, and also the E30 M3. And like those cars, if you saw that race, yeah, you could buy the homologation car where there's 500 of them made. You could also buy so let's say 190. So you watch the Evo 2.
190s.
So you watch the Evo 2 and you're like, oh, I could buy the homologation car, it's going to cost a lot. Or I could go the next step down, which is I could buy a 190 Cosworth. Or I could just buy a regular 190. They all have the same general shape.
Yeah. It's like
The
Sierras.
only difference is performance. Sierra is the same.
Sierra's a perfect example.
E30 M3 is the same as well.
Where E30 M3 is a lot wider.
It is, but so is an Evo 2.
Yes.
So is an
correct.
Evo 2 versus
And an RS
you know,
500.
and an RS 500. Like they're all quite far removed from the normal car. But like with an E30, you could get a 316, you could get a 4-door, you could get a 325iX, you could get the M3. You know, you could even get the South African. Is it the 320 SI that had the S14 out of the E30 M3, but as a 2-litre for tax reasons.
That's right.
But narrow body. Like,
I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that we just don't find hatchbacks interesting anymore. Like, look, what have all these things got in common? And I know, like,
actually, I think one of the big things, I think 2027 the new regs come in for WRC, and it will open it up that you can run saloons, crossover SUVs or hatchbacks. Now, I wish it was just saloons, because I think there's something really cool about you know, if it's based on a car that you can actually fit 4 grown adults into, happy days.
That's what I was literally about to say. What have all these things got in common, apart from the 205 T16, which is kind of like the thorn in my side for this conversation, because I love it so much. But like, look at like all the rally cars, Imprezas, Evos. Like, I seen a picture of a 2001 Octavia the other day. It's so cool. Like, and again, touring cars are the same. It's all like saloons. Now it's all hatchbacks. It's just dumb.
But like, look at the love, and it kind of goes a couple of levels. Like when I bought my Coupe Quattro, I knew I couldn't buy an Or Quattro.
It's 2 times it's mentioned.
Right, we're going to keep going.
Do a count.
So I couldn't buy an Or Quattro at the time. So it was the next kind of best thing for me. And then obviously now that I have the S6 and the S4. Both of those have 5-cylinder turbo engines, and those engines really ring true with me because of obviously Group B rallying.
100%.
20 valve 5-cylinder turbo. Yes, it was a 21 or 2.1 rather than a 2.2, but still same basis. And you even see it with the wastegate on that
Are they
car.
only 20 valve?
Say again?
Are they only 20 valve?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they'd be the
4 valves per cylinder.
Oh yeah.
There was a 5 valves per cylinder one for the top speed run.
Yes. Or was it Pikes Peak?
Possibly at the very last Pikes Peak, but it definitely was used for the speed run, and then I think as well for the IMSA 90 GTO. But anyway, enough about these. But the thing is, even all of those cars, they had a similarity to the road cars. They had, you know, you could own those cars and be excited about what that car meant, and that said something about you. And you know what, like, you're like wearing a football t-shirt. If you're a BMW guy, or you're an Audi guy, or you're a Mercedes guy, and your team won at the weekend, you've bragging rights.
Yes,
you know,
Subaru jackets, Evo jackets were all the rage for years.
Size 200 ones now.
Whereas like, how many Toyota modern rally fans or modern F1 car fans have any link with the actual brand.
Yeah.
They just support
It's the driver.
It's the driver, but it's nothing to do with like how many Hyundai fans actually drive Hyundai or own Hyundais, and how many Hyundai owners actually even know that Hyundai has a rally team.
Yeah. Whereas literally even now, like Subaru pulled out of the WRC in probably 2006, 2007. Mitsubishi I think pulled out in 2005. Like we still associate, people will still get rally art stickers.
Yeah, I have no idea what it means.
And on Evos, like 20 years down, like we're now, if I'm thinking correctly, we're now 20 years since an Evo competed in the WRC. And people are still talking about, Evo's got rally heritage. It's like, it does, but people still look at that and go, that's that. Even Octavias, I still, like, especially now because Octavias are, like, old Octavias are now coming, like, it's like the Mark IV Golf effect. Like, that period, we're past 20 years now. That stuff's starting to come cool, and you look at like a yellow Mark 1 Octavia and you're just like, that's so cool.
But like I do think there's space there for a great reset. I think there's space there for a big reset, especially in the world of motorsport, and I think that in the world of cars in general, those that want EVs, let them have EVs. I think the rest of it is, let's actually strip things back to what people want. And I think, you know, again, another issue that I've seen is nobody's willing to make compromise. If you had a car in the early 90s or the late 80s, it couldn't do everything. So if you had a 205 GTI, for example, amazing car in the back roads, would you want to drive to Belfast with it from Cork?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. So, but also, would you like to fit 5 people inside it? No. God, no.
Was it a pocket rocket?
Yes.
Yes.
And you had those kind of compromises, and like, you know, you had certain cars that kind of blended the lines of those compromises a little bit, like the RS2, you know, my S4 Avant, for example, where you had performance but you also had practicality.
Sierra Cosworth. I'm going to mention Sierra's.
You had those kind of cars that kind of skirted the lines of practicality, but then they were gas guzzlers. Whereas now you're kind of like, oh, I have a 250 horsepower hybrid petrol BMW 330i, and it's 250 horsepower. It's an estate, and I can go all over the country, and it's a great car for everything. And it's like, okay. Or you could get an SUV that like fit the whole family. It's up high just in case you ever need to drive through a field.
No. Not that they can. I do this every day. They want it because it's safe. They want it because it's safe.
But like that's the thing. Like unfortunately, there's no compromise, and like customers aren't willing to compromise. But also, manufacturers don't want to make stuff that doesn't that does compromise.
Fit the build.
And so they need to fit as many. It's like a Venn diagram, and they need to fit everything exactly in the fucking middle. And otherwise, it doesn't sell.
That's why everything is a crossover now.
Everything. Because
I don't think I have a brand new car that I could sell you that isn't a SUV of some description.
Maybe.
No, but it's in like, it's ridiculous. You've Golf, the Octavia.
But like, I look forward to the day, and the problem is everyone is very self-centered at the moment, and like, I know this sounds really weird, but everyone's really self-centered at the moment. What I actually want is people to be dickheads again and be egotistical, because as soon as you get kind of a bit more of the ego back, and it's not like, oh, I want to be safe, I want to be able to do everything. It's like, no, I want my neighbour to know I'm fucking successful, rather than just because. But like,
dick swinging is what you want back.
But look at BMW coupes. That's all that BMW coupes were. You know, BMW coupe was the person who said, I don't like to their neighbour, F you and your practicality. I don't have a family. I don't need to worry about that stupid stuff. I'm going to have my fucking stupid BMW coupe, and I'm not going to worry about it. And I think, you know, the coupe mentality, the two-door mentality of like, I don't need practicality. I'm more important, and how others perceive me is more important than actual practicality. I think we need elements of that back, because that then would be the only thing that can break compromise.
It's funny how, like, and it's,
I spend a lot of time thinking about this.
But the thing is,
I feel like I'm playing a game or watching a game of tennis here. I'm just like,
if you look at someone like who drives a TT, for example, like the first thing that now comes into people's heads is
hairdresser.
No, not even that. But it's like, it's like, okay, poser, or, you know, right, well, clearly they don't have any aspiring interest to have a family or anything like that. And that's, I think, maybe that's more a thing in Ireland because we're so deeply traditional.
I definitely think it is.
Like, in Ireland, like, even though now, obviously, people aren't getting married as young, etc., like, you know, like, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, like, we'd all be married and probably have 3 kids by now.
I was going to say, you'd be probably on the way out.
Reaching 30 and now, literally,
He'll be MOT exempt.
I had my midlife crisis 11 years ago.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, it's fuck no. But like, I feel like now, like, people like look at that, and I think there is especially in Ireland, there is this level of judgment where it's like, okay, well, you need to, when now you're like 26, 27, 28, why would you buy an Audi TT? Why would you buy a two-door? Why would you buy it? And also, like, at the same token, it's like, okay, you're 35 and you drive a Fiesta. Like, you know, you should be driving a Kia Picanto, or you should be driving like a Hyundai Santa Fe or something like that.
Yeah.
But I miss the days of like when cars had purposes. So if you had a family, you had a people carrier.
Yes.
And if you wanted a sport, like, do you remember the days of the sporty people carriers? The Vauxhall VXR Safira.
Yes.
And the, what else was there? The Ford S-Max with the Focus ST 2.5 turbo, the 5-cylinder turbo one. Like, or
plus carbon credits has killed all that stuff now.
the
That's the problem.
VR6 Chiran.
Yeah.
VR6 Chiran, the Toyota Previa with the V6 under
your ass.
And rear wheel drive.
Yeah.
You could drift them.
Like, do you know what? It's kind of like that was a car for that purpose, and it was kind of like those cars kind of passed from owner to owner. It's like, oh, you're having a family now, but you don't want to buy a new car, and you can have our old Previa, you know. And I think those days are gone because now it's just like, oh, I'll just get a new SUV in 2 years' time, and like hopefully I don't die by then. And it's just really,
I'll get on the PCP, so just in case I do pass away, it's fucked.
Yeah, I've the
bank can have it
PCP,
back.
and it doesn't cost me much now. And
Yeah.
okay,
all
cool,
I
thank
want.
you.
Are you going to cover anything that I break in this car?
Yeah.
We are at a stage now where I think everybody seems to like, as you say, like everybody wants a big car for safety, and it's like,
it's not that, but the safety isn't there.
and it's like,
If everyone has a big car, guess what? You're more safe.
yeah,
Give me a tiny little car on a back road. I'll be the one.
Oh, it's way more crack.
Yeah,
yeah.
We have a 99 Yaris that work for a runaround. It is the best crack of a car.
yeah.
How good's the handbrake?
Huh?
How good's the handbrake?
I don't know my basketball. He's probably worse.
Allegedly.
But
But I think
the worst era for us here in Ireland is when things, and sometimes, you know, the boom kind of ruined it for us too, is when everyone went from having Carinas to
Evos.
E60 BMWs.
Yeah.
You know, everyone went from, the normal person went from, they got spoiled way too quickly.
Yeah.
So they went from Toyota to premium brand.
Yeah.
And then at that point, there's no going back. So now
You
you're
lose
premium
your
brand.
credit.
Say again?
You lose your credit if you go back.
Yeah.
Fair. But also, then, okay, you might go back and you might go to a Kia or
then
something
you're
like
seen as
that.
boring.
But you're now in a big Kia. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm going, you know.
Yeah, I have a big car.
Well, then tell me this: what do you think of the likes of the Hyundai A30N? Someone who has, like, Hyundai has created the A30N, and it has, I mean, technically, sport mode I think is illegal in them because of the noise.
pop and bang.
Yeah, and they pop and bang standard.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody else maybe other than the Gazoo Racing Yaris that does that. What do you think of that approach?
The problem is we're priced out of them.
In the south, yeah.
Because, like, I have one outside my office window at work. It's GRRs. It's 60 grand. You try
Or
explain-
96 grand for a new one.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You try explain to some old fellow why it's a nearly daily occurrence at work with me.
They were 33.
Why is it 60 grand for a fucking yard?
With a 1 point, she's a 1.5.
I need to try.
Can you do that with a proper, like, real old hand southern?
He definitely can.
Like,
What the fuck? It's a Yaris. No, I'm gonna fucking do North accent. Literal North accent. My accent should be bad enough. Anyway.
no. I'm talking about, like, sure, why would you go down the road?
So why in God's name would you go buying that heap of shit? 'Tis a Yaris at the end of the bloody day.
There we go. I just wanted to hear that. So fun.
But that's the thing. Is like, I didn't explain to him. Well, it's not just a Yaris.
But they were 33 grand sterling, I think, new. And during the time, whenever you couldn't get them in the north, raffle companies were buying them for like 37, 38 grand.
Drop the price up.
And then obviously getting like 55 grand for them.
And then Toyota released version 2, and everyone was like, I thought these were
Do you know they
limited.
fixed something great in version 2 though?
What?
Have you ever been in one?
No. Oh, the seat.
Seat.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never been.
And
Never
it's
been
like-
in the version 1.
If this is the roof, it's in a normal car.
Yeah.
That's where it is in GRR. So
Yeah.
version 2,
my
it's
hair
adjusted.
is in the headliner with the seat as lowest position in version 1. And also, finally, and I know this sounds really controversial, they added an auto. The one my biggest complaint about the first gen was it should have come with like a really good DSG style gearbox, a flappy paddle, feel like a rally car. It's a small car. Everyone like lauds and says,
I was going all right, but I was going to say I like the fact it's only
love
manual.
the fact that it's manual.
I like the fact it's only
But you
manual.
have to drive it.
But have you driven the manual once?
Yeah.
I fucking hate the manual in them.
Yeah.
I think the gearbox is just like
No, it's not 60 grand's worth of crack, but
it's like it takes the gearbox in that, whatever it is about it. And I know loads of people are like, oh, it's the best, it's such a good gearbox.
well, no, actually, the gearbox is the worst part.
Yeah, the gearbox is the
in the
biggest.
mechanical point of view, like.
The gearbox is the biggest letdown of the GR Yaris, and I'm like, if the gearbox is going to be that bad, just give me flappy paddles instead, because at least then I can have fun on the back road, and I'm not like, and I feel the gear ratios are completely wrong for a 1.5 turbo as well. Whereas like, let me just quickly flap through these gears.
The way that
Pops and
car,
bangs.
the way that car would have been like it tops out like 110 mile an hour, and like third, like second
5
gear.
speed.
Yeah, like even like
How about 4-speed with overdrive?
yeah, literally like it's
Dog
like.
leg.
But like that's the way it should be. Like you screaming the head off at like say 6,500 RPM or whatever they rev out to is only like 110 mile an hour. But by fuck, you have the best crack getting there. And you're there in seconds.
But again, compromise, because they didn't want to do that, because that meant then that the boys that wanted to, for some reason, check out if a GR Yaris can do 160 miles per hour on the autobahn, couldn't do it.
fuck them.
But that's what I mean about compromise.
Fuck
because
on.
those people then would be bitching and moaning and complaining that they can't, for the one time they go to the autobahn, they can't do 160 miles an hour.
By Golf R.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But
but
like-
like,
but
what
like-
you do, like in my head, it's like you wouldn't buy a Yaris GR to go the autobahn. I know people will do
give
it.
me 180 kilometers an hour max speed in a GR Yaris. That's amazing when it comes to the gear ratios and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah, you all think in kilometers. I think in miles per hour. Yeah.
What your team were going batshit crazy to us doing 160, right?
No, well, I'm just saying because I'm saying 110, like, but I'm talking miles per hour, so it's about 180k roughly.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, it's the fact that like people I think are so scared of being cancelled, and then you've got Jaguar who.
We're not going to talk about that.
Sorry, that was a trot.
But then you've got that.
To be fair, you saw the top comment on that. I'm still the top comment on that
Are you?
on their
Are you
release.
still the top comment on that? Oh wow!
And the worst thing was they were considering bringing me over for the launch, but I don't think they put 2 and 2 together at the time that it was me. I think
Would have made a very interesting launch.
it would have been would have definitely been interesting. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, it was the original post they did. Are we
How long
still
are we
on time?
talking?
Ah, 2 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
So-
I was going to say, we'll have to go through things. Your man will be getting fucking anxious now. So.
So
No, a few
my
minutes and then we'll go.
comment on that has 59.1k likes. Guess how many likes the actual video has?
Wait, how much you have?
59.1 or 59,100
Likes.
And how many
the
likes?
real one probably has 30.
has 57. He's had 57,000.
But is that on Facebook or is that on
Instagram.
Instagram. Aye, so there's no dislike button.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there was a dislike button, it would be yeah.
Yeah, he'd have all the fucking.
Your comments basically use us as a dislike button. Like that's what people
I
are.
am the dislike button.
You are the dislike
To
button.
be fair, which is what I do in my day-to-day life anyway. Just give people a reason not to like the other things.
So, where I suppose, like, look, I'm up north. I'm kind of bound to different, I suppose, laws and stuff compared to the south. Like here, personally, in the south, like, you guys get it so much worse.
That's how geography works.
Yeah,
Up is north, down. Yeah.
Fuck it.
We
South.
well, do you say we're going down north? Of course not.
No, we're
up
going
north.
north. We're
Yeah,
going north.
but it's like, but you'll say going down the road, probably. Down
Depends, it could
do you
be
say
t-
going down the road to Belfast or up the road to Belfast?
Up the road to Belfast. But
Do you go down to Dublin?
No, I go up to Dublin.
Okay.
You go up to Dublin. But see,
You go down to Limerick, though. You go down to Limerick.
You go down to Limerick. You go down to Clarny.
But that's because social standing.
But I go down to Cork.
Yeah, but the two of us are going down to we're fucking depleting off the side of the map here.
Yeah.
But you only go over the road, so like you go over to somewhere that's a bit closer. So there's a lot of stuff.
See, so well,
Anyway.
I think for me it's basically because I'm quite far north. Everything's sort of down, but
Up down.
We're on
down.
up
That's
down.
us now.
There's a bomb in the biscuit then. And cut.
But for us, like we don't get tramp the same way you used to with cars. Like VRT is the
illegal
biggest. Is it? See, is it actually illegal?
It's illegal.
According to all the boys on Facebook, yeah.
But it's something is that it's illegal, but it generates so much revenue it nearly doubles the price. So they're making money even after paying the fine.
So that's what I have. That's the general story
Consensus on it. Yeah.
Is that actually true? Is that?
I don't
It
think-
wouldn't surprise me. I was going to say we're recording fucking 3 hours.
Yeah, we probably need to call.
I should have dialed in on my drive down. That would have been the first
That
one.
would have been a brilliant bit of the phone.
Yeah, actually, that'd have been.
Before we do it, there's one video I've been trying to itch to bring up. Have you seen the video of him singing Fields of Athenry?
So
See, as much as he hates drifting, well, he doesn't hate drifting, but I got one of the most iconic videos
I don't hate drifting at all. I actually really enjoy drifting. I just don't think there's a point in me filming drifting.
No,
there's enough great content creators out there
if you
making
actually
drift
film-
content that there's no point in me. I was like, do you know what? I'm even that way with rallying now. I as I like to call it, I'm spectator plus.
Yeah.
I'm not media anymore. I don't want to be media. I'm spectator plus. I'm spectator who's giving other people access if I do film a couple of
Do you know what there's an opening for? Filming the crack in the pits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's where this video is from. Is
Yeah.
we were over with the Falvies.
Yeah.
There was no more competition that day. He had a guitar, me and him were singing, we were drinking, and in next thing walks Naoki Nakamura, and you're sitting singing Fields of Athenry, and you're man going with a flag.
But it's moments like that.
But see, this is well, like only us know. Well, us and Instagram, whoever looked at my video.
But it's not like 1,000 of you were all standing there with cameras all trying to get a bit of Naomi Nakamura. It was just a case of...
But the best stuff happens when cameras aren't there, and I'll say that as someone who has cameras.
Yeah.
It's like there's a time for cameras and there's a time not to have cameras. And like, if you're the person that like, and look, I'm guilty of it as well so many times, if you're the person that always has the camera out, people act differently when there's a camera there.
But you even see it here. If you pull out the camera to do an
if
intro
I pull out the camera,
changes.
everyone's like, oh.
we were
Well, except me. You're just on the place going, stop fucking
I'm like, Jack, do something stupid.
we were talking about this with Farmflex as well.
Not too stupid.
just don't get me in trouble.
7 out of 10, Jack. 7 out of 10.
He'll have to show you the video of us collecting his audio where I overtake the learner driver.
I actually showed that to someone last night. I cut it out of the actual video.
In the video, it's, and here we are doing 30, and then he goes, we're going to be here for a while. What comes straight after is me planting the shoe and behind him with a Jeep and trailer.
Yeah, it was just what I was going to say. There was
To be fair, it's the fastest that car has driven in 10 years.
Drag Jimmy.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, well, I'm not under its own power, but it's felt the wind brushing against it at that speed. No, because I don't know if you are familiar with Farmflex. Like, you probably know what Farmflex are.
No, I've heard of them just because of you.
Okay.
Literally just.
Farmflex is like they were like basically a quick rundown. There was Grassman, then John, who was part of Grassman, he split off and
did his own thing
and formed Farmflex, and Gareth stayed with the Grassman name. And John was saying, he says some of the best conversations he has when he goes to farmers' yards are the conversations he has before he turns the camera on. As you're saying, like, and as soon as the camera turns on, he says suddenly you're stuck up in the tractor,
and there's frozen rigid,
and you're sitting there going like, what if I make a mistake and there hit something on the road?
Mistakes happen on every day. It's the only way to do it.
I have the best one for you. Last week, it was what's his name? Trying to think of it. Basically, I had a shoot last week, and it was a completely random shoot. Was just kind of like what I organised to go film a couple of cool cars. There was a couple of interesting things there, and the guy who owned the dealership, he just started chatting away, and I'm trying to find your man's name. Who was John Watson?
Okay.
He was Senna's teammate.
Right.
So basically, this guy owned this dealership, sells classic cars, but he used to have a string of BMW dealerships across the UK called Hexagon. And really interesting guy, you know, fascinating stories. But back during, I think, the 70s, he bought a XF1 car off Bernie Eccleston.
Okay.
And decided to run like a private team. And they had a test of the car in Silverstone. The driver he had organised wasn't really performing, but he knew this guy John Watson and was like, look, you come down and just kind of after lunch just make sure the car is alright, because our driver's not really feeling comfortable. And within 3 laps he set the new Silverstone record. And they were like, okay, shit, it's not the car, it's obviously the driver. So after lunch then they kind of let the driver know, look, unfortunately I don't think we're going to keep working together, but John so anyway, and then John Watson went after that went to McLaren and was driving the MP4Cs with Ayrton Senna.
Right.
So if you ever see, I've actually got a couple of videos of them. The Marlboro McLarens, there's either one of two names on that. It's either Senna or it's John Watson.
Nice.
And it's just those kind of stories. So like I was there and I was like, he was telling me this and I was like, oh, I need to put a mic on you. So I just put a mic on him. And it's like he talked great stories, but the best stories were as soon as I stopped record, I was like, oh, things are going a bit dead now. Look, I'm going to save my storage. And then he'd come out with another banger and it's like, what?
Yeah.
No, come on, keep going. About like some random car he sold to like some
he probably
crazy
thinks
story.
that's not interesting.
Yeah, and so then I was like, look, Paul, I actually find all of this interesting. I want to hear all of it. I was like, I can come back another day and do what I actually need to do. I want to film as much of this as possible. And so he brought me through his workshop and was showing me some of the stuff they were up to. They're currently restoring a wide-body Dino, a factory wide-body Dino.
Class.
Ferrari Dino.
Panda?
So.
Yeah. Just say yeah. Just Ben's mine.
No, over in the UK. And so like those kind of stories, and like you always, like again, he doesn't realise me going around my Osmo is a big camera. He doesn't realise the output that can have. So for him, like he's an old guy, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna keep these stories, but he doesn't really realise that he knows that I'm filming, but he also kind of fobbed it off because I'm not there with a big camera.
Yeah,
like what he sees is a big recording camera. So in one sense that's really good, and like I think that works in sheds and stuff like that as well, as when the small stuff is out and you're kind of discreet, it's like,
and it's like you get the videos.
But I think when you have the big cameras, everyone's like,
people,
and even I'm like that. Like if I see a camera in the corner of my eye, I'm kind of like, are they filming me or are they not filming me? Because I don't
do I have to
watch
what I say here. Do I have to say something?
Yeah,
I'm like doing my first podcast, like not like where I'm actually the guest in like a month's time. I'm shitting it. As someone who literally does podcasts and helps.
Who's it with?
Sure, what do we know? They're basically beside me as well, but it's to do with it's like they basically, I don't want to say it, they interview local people, like local sort of well-known-ish people. I class myself kind of lower level of that. They also interview like the local headers and stuff. It's quite funny. They're a good podcast. So like I've been listening because they do like quick fire rounds and stuff. I'm shitting it. I'm really nervous because I'm scared.
Because the worst thing is, if the biggest thing about podcasts is actually if you feel too comfortable. That's the biggest risk with a podcast, is you feel too comfortable, and especially if you don't get on with the person that's filming the podcast. Like let's say you're not, like let's say that person only cares about the views, you're becoming a soundbite. Yeah, and it's like, fuck, like I didn't mean it like that. That's not the context of where it was. Like you could easily edit this to make me look like the biggest German. You could make me look like I don't like people. I love automatics. I don't like manuals. Like you could take all of those bits.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't, but like there are like obviously I will probably try and use a few bits of this for like you know,
TikToks
and stuff, but I'll be trying to
get the one of me kicking him in the face. I can redo it if you want.
And if you try
with actual results this time,
you know, and if you try to clamp my horse, I'll kick you in the face.
And you know what'll end up happening? He'll somebody watch Hachetto and fucking RetroGarage have a fight over automatic versus manual. It's just
I don't pay no tax. Fucking CT.
We know you don't pay tax. Revenue.
It was actually learned from, again, like, that could be taken out of context.
Yeah.
I pay no tax.
Yeah. Pay no tax.
Alright, from RetroGarage. Pays no tax.
Loves autos.
So, right, to finish off, lads, because we've been on this.
Just all going to listen to the whole lot of this. If you've made it this far, congratulations. Karen will do a discount on number plates for you.
Jack, what's your where can we find you in the social media?
Slick_E36.
I'm so glad I got that
Racing.
On
Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, it's all the same.
Tell him to buy my E92 off me.
No, because I'm saving up money and I'm going to buy it and ruin it.
Can we have your details on?
Oh no!
Even though, like
at RetroGarage official.
At RetroGarage official. Yes.
Hopefully one day I'll actually get at RetroGarage, but for now at RetroGarage official.
Oh, do you not have? I thought you were.
No,
I thought you were at RetroGarage.
Some genuinely, some Indian kids. I checked it every 3 days. I checked for RetroGarage, and in April of last year, some young Indian kid decided to take it and. They put up like 10 posts, and the last one, this is how I know it's really trying to rise me, is the last post that's up there is of Elon. And I'm like, you did this on purpose. You did this on purpose. So I will get that.
It's flying
going to take a while
with a rifle, and
it's going to take a while, but we'll get there. Yeah. I'm a persistent old bugger.
Lads, thank you so much. This has been unreal. Thank you.
And here a big up to Jack for coming onto the pod.
Even though Conor never actually met him.
Yeah, I like the way that smart ass here points that out to make me feel like a dick. Cheers, Michael.
Thank you.
You're such a nice fucker, so you are.
No problem. Anytime.
But yeah. Suppose, Michael, you may go through the stuff that we have received, because I've just been floored with the busy recently.
Have you nothing to add to the list? Have you anything? No. The look of fear in your eyes of just no. So okay, no, that's grand. I have a few things here, so I'll get the phone.
I'm trying to think. Have I?
Well, I'll tell you. Well, you're getting that. I'll tell you the first.
Go for it.
The first one. So, if you don't already know, I'm getting married.
Are you, lad?
Oh my!
No way.
Yeah. So, the way it works for us, where we're wanting to get married, they ask us to do a marriage course.
All right. I was going to say no. I'm not marrying you.
No. Me and Conor are not getting married. We're married in terms of contract with limited differences, but
are we?
Aye, we're now.
Right.
So
okay.
we had to do a marriage course, and. It's actually a lot better. Like, we went from, you're nearly off the camera. It's went from at the start.
Sorry, if I do this here, then I'm like,
we
hey.
Yup.
Enough of this.
But anyway, back. So we ended up going way off topic, off camera. There, yeah. That is definitely not going on the podcast.
No.
But. So we ended up having the guests do all these different things. A lot of us.
The topic that we went on to, you could say, was having a laugh about the fact that we're on a sofa.
It went 0 to 100 and then 0 to 1,000. If you don't know that reference, well, look it up. So
yes, and then we get back down to earth.
Yes. So that's
a very good way to describe that conversation.
Yeah.
To be fair, yes.
So we end up having to do this. Like, I'm never going to get this fucking story told at this rate. So they make us do, like, you know, all this different couple time and all. It is actually really.
That's the marriage course that we're talking about. Yes, sorry.
It is actually really good. I would highly recommend it. Like,
you have to do it though if you want to get married.
Some, like, look, I don't normally get into religion or politics in this podcast. I'm from a Catholic denomination. I'm getting married in a Catholic church, and therefore some Catholic churches make you go, you need to do this course. Other ones just let you go and chat to the priest for like 2 hours, and he goes, no bother. But
are you, lad?
Yeah.
That's mad, eh?
So
small world.
That's why if you're also getting married and going, well, I don't have to do this, well, be glad you're not Catholic. So because £150 later and 2 days of my time given up. Yeah. But actually, no, it was pretty good. Actually, I would actually, if anybody was like kind of sitting there going, oh, I have to do it as well.
Do you feel prepared to walk down the aisle now?
Do you know, there are actually some questions that do come up that you're like, fuck, you have to think about this.
In relation to...
Just in general, to your couple, to your, like, your relationship. And, like...
But what, like?
I'd have to show you the book.
Rough idea.
Well, it, like, talks about, like, things like... List things that you cannot... Like, you feel uncomfortable talking with your partner about. Like, stuff like that, you know, like...
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah. Oh, and it's like circle the things that you find you struggle to talk to your partner
Is
about.
it just yourself and Beck?
No, there's 15 couples. But whether this all stays in the podcast, I don't know. Probably take a lot of this out. But so one of the things they got us to do was this group thing where we had to sit around, and our topic we had to talk about was things of beauty. What do you find beautiful? It was like to do with like the sacrament of marriage and all this here. And
I was about to say,
talking about beauty.
You'd be like, Beck.
Well, I did make that joke. I was like, is this not the time to now say our partners? And then some of the people were like, sunsets and sunrise and all this. And I was like, what about a well-packed silage pit? Because that is a true sign of beauty. So your woman had to read it out. And she was like, so we've got Group A here. She was like, so I've got sunrise, sunset, blah, 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 all this. She's like, and one of the participants in Group A has said I should read this out, and it's a well-packed pit of silage. And you just heard like a couple of other people from around the room who were clearly farmers going, woo! And then also while I was sitting on the course, I could hear like all the beeping from all the tractors going through and doing the tractor.
Yes.
The tractor run.
That's another thing.
Yeah, we probably should have touched them. Fair play to everybody who was going out in for the UFU tractor run.
I couldn't make it on Saturday at all. When it happened.
Yeah,
storm and that.
Well, I obviously was doing the course, so I couldn't make it either. But it was, and to be honest, if I was doing the course. If I wasn't doing the course, we probably would have been concreting because I need to get that stuff done.
Yeah, true, yeah.
But I think if there had been an option to go, I probably would have been there.
Yeah, no, of course.
The FOMO would have kicked in too, to be quite honest, and I would have felt like I had to be there. Plus, for us, it's probably good that we do go.
Well, yeah, it's not even like
that sort of
it's not to say that I wouldn't be one wild for going to tractor runs. I've been to a couple, and it's sort of felt like, oh, you've been there and you've done that. But even that one though, only the day didn't work out. Excuse me, only the day didn't work out for us. Like whenever I was available to go to it, my dad was like, oh, Ian, go on ahead, and I was like, I'll never make it in time now, so just the way the day went, escape this.
So you were actually going to maybe try and go?
Yes, but like by the time I would have sort of gave the tractor the roughest of washes or even barely do anything to it, and got to Ballymena Market, never would have been there in time.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Well, look, these things happen. Like, I'm sure there'll be plenty more protests because I don't think these ones are going to be going away anytime soon. That sort of bullshit.
No.
When do you hear this? So, a listener of the podcast, and I actually spoke to him at Moira Model Show.
Oh, right enough, yeah.
So I got a message the other day. Owen Brennan wrote to me and said, hey, I've been watching your video in Turbo and the 110. I was like, right. He says, I'd actually like to make a model of your Fate based on that, if you'd be okay with that. Do you have a couple of other photos you could send to me? And he was like, I want to make it in the spec it is now, though, the way I have the weights and all set up. And he was like, is there anything about your tractor that you think I should add? And I was like, well, look, a lot of Fate models, they don't have the mud guards that follow the doors.
Okay.
But Perfect 32 does a thing for that, an adaptation kit for that. I says, if you're going to do it right, I was like, do the weight block exactly how I have the weight block done. I was like, it needs a CB aerial whip. And he said, what about, he goes, I always have to have a door or a window open. I goes, put a rear window open, what about a sunroof? He says, don't know, never done it. And then I said, look, what are you planning on doing with this tractor? And he goes, don't know. He's like, I hadn't really thought. And I was like, would you be selling it? And he was like, I don't know. I was like, if you're gonna put all that effort into it, I'd buy it.
Yeah, of course.
And he was like, well, if I was putting if you were buying it, he's like, I obviously put it exactly to the spec you want. And I was like, if you're making it just because you like the tractor, fair play. I was like, but look, I would rather buy that model than someone else buy that model when it's literally my tractor.
Oh, of course, aye.
Yeah, so
but like if somebody like said, "Oh, I'll make the 6M15 exactly the you have," I'd be like, "I won't."
Yeah. Well, funny. Speaking of that, so Owen's working on that at the minute. So fair play, Owen, and I'm absolutely buzzing, and I cannot wait to get it. Like, so yeah, that's gonna be class. But another funny, you speak about models of buying. A fella reached out to me today. His name's Ryan Williamson, and in the same podcast where we mentioned Owen, you talk about a Red Rock trailer and going into the details.
Yes.
So Ryan Williamson reached out to me today and says, "Hi, I actually was just watching your podcast, episode 47." He says, and he's like, your co-host talks about the Red Rock trailer. He's like, "Well, if you want to send him my way." He's like, he can come and have a look, and he sent me some of the photos of some of the stuff he does, and this like Red Rock stuff and the trailers and the tankers. The details phenomenal.
Is he the same person that I was talking about?
No, he just made the models.
Oh,
he actually made the models
of that
Red Rock. Yes.
Oh, he was the one that actually made that then?
Yes.
Wow, there you go then.
So he goes, well, if he's interested in buying, I said, Connor's a miserable bastard.
I just don't have the same money you have.
I don't have the money there. I'm just stupid with it.
And I've just bought a car, and literally got no money. I'm not joking. See, payday can't come quick enough.
Oh, no.
Not payday
joking.
from podcast, payday from job.
He'll be waiting all for a payday from the podcast.
So it's a negative equity.
Yeah.
Never been in positive equity.
No.
No. I have to. If you've got photos sent,
I'll show them to you. But honestly,
that is cool though.
Yeah, the artwork, the model works class. I mean, we've been talking about this in the Tractor Pulling group chat as well, about like a model show. Maybe like the Icon would be a perfect place to have a model show. You'd only do it in one shed, but can you imagine the amount of stuff you would get there? Massive dioramas and
yeah,
the amount of stock you could have at it and stuff like. And you can clearly see with Moira, like the crowd it draws in.
Oh, Moira was the biggest ever, was I think this year. Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of model shows go on around the country. The Carrickdale's a big one too. So I think, like, definitely.
Well, Moira's my first one, and I would go back again.
I'll 100% be doing Moira in a heartbeat. The only thing I'm a bit raging is I'm not going to get to the Spring Farm Machinery Show this week.
You're not?
I'm in Cork.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm a bit raging I can't get to
What day were you thinking of going or something?
Wednesday and Thursday is the 2 days it's on. If it's still on the Friday, I would try and maybe go on the Friday night, but
I doesn't look like I'm going to get to it this year either, to be honest with you.
I'd have loved to have went, to be honest, but well,
to be fair, as you've said before, like the Winter Fair or the Spring Farm Machinery Show, last year was the first time I went to the Spring Farm Machinery Show. I'm not going to knock it as a show, but it's funny. The Winter Fair, like, for me, it's not that it's class, but it's a very good show, and obviously whenever you're a dairy farmer, you'll naturally want to go and look at it.
I think that's very much the case, yeah. Whereas for me, I'm just like machinery.
You're scrap metal disease.
Yes, very much so, which reminds me, I need to do so much work to my tanker. But anyway, that's a story for another day. Moving on to a couple of things I've been sent to. So Stevie McMullen sent me a video of a wee calf, and it's like clearly cold, so it's blowing, like when it's like blowing out the nostrils, you can see like vapour, but someone has got it timed with a 2-stroke engine.
Class.
So it's just like vim, 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 vim. It's fucking hilarious. Reese Bruce sent me a video of a full carbon shell RS500.
I just seen that video is just before we were recording here. That's cool as fuck, like.
That's mental. But I'm not surprised I'm surprised actually it hasn't been done before now on RS500, because like, them cars are now like royalty level. Like RS500s are Mark II level of royalty, I would say. So I'm not surprised that now that sort of stuff's happening, and that's probably going to get more common as time goes on.
So, breaking the fourth wall, we have now just done our skit for TikTok. So, Michael, tell me, and I'll act as if I'd never heard it before.
Darren Finnerty sent me a video there of 406, but
Is it good twin pipes on it?
It does have twin pipes, funny
No
enough.
way. Do they go up the fucking bit? No.
Aye, so it's got stacks.
Oh, no way.
Hardly knew that. So it does burn it as well.
I was about to say, does it?
Imagine.
Oh my God.
So
that just is a great TikTok video, you know.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, I think we're going to probably have a shape background for it in this one. So we'll just zoom in.
It's the yourself and your missus or your wife to be.
Yes. We are in my house after all.
Well, you can't actually see that photo because it's like the light's shining on it. So it's,
yeah, there ain't nothing middle one's all me and Becca.
Yeah.
It's it's nice. But that's me out of crack.
I have just been floored with it again. I actually looked at it and I bar YouTube and using it during work purposes and like listening to maybe videos like, you know, Andrew Wright, describing silage and different things like that. YouTube's probably the most used app, and all are not there. Well, Spotify, sorry, as well during the milking times. I haven't really been on my phone hardly at all. Like,
because I was going to give a shout out to the community.
It's got a it's got a stage where I think Jeremy Holland has sent me snaps from 3 weeks ago and haven't even opened them yet.
Jesus, I'd be talking to Jeremy every day.
I know, like, that's what I mean. I've seen the notification and then something else has come up and then I forgot I've got the notification, to tell you the truth.
Jeez, you'd really need to stop keeping that man waiting. Don't upset poor Jeremy, like.
I'm not meaning to. It's like Facebook Messenger is only ever used to book a haircut.
Mm-hmm.
WhatsApp, to be honest, is the thing I use the most.
Mm-hmm.
And that's only, you know, there's obviously your family members and all that too. But I like TikTok. I think I've been on it for maybe half an hour to 40 minutes at the most.
Other than posting, as I say, other than posting the videos on TikTok, I don't be on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, I don't use TikTok other than just to check what I've posted and see if it's doing okay or if it's not.
But it's nice to see that, you know, the video you put up recently there with the silage fleets 2015 onwards.
Yeah, that done really well. And the Nürburgring video done well as well. Although, we tend to get dragged in the videos that do very well.
What do you mean dragged?
Like, a lot of slagging. Like, a lot of people slag us off and call us stupid. Once it goes viral, the general public don't turn very nice.
Well, maybe we are just stupid.
A lot of people going, this just reeks of culture, and it's like, yes, we are.
Have you seen what I'm wearing?
A culture podcast.
And I'm actually wearing non-brand clothes for the first time in a while.
We just need a branded jeans now. Do you know something I'd love to do? Would never be able to do it, but something I'd love to do would be like branded Snickers.
I fucking knew that was what you were going to come out with.
Well,
I never wear them.
You don't wear. I think you'd suit work trousers.
Huh?
I think you'd suit work trousers.
No, I just always wear jeans. I as I was saying to you before, I don't know what it is, but probably since 2019 anyway. So, sort of since starting in work. Bar, like, I have a couple of pairs of trainers. I've actually a pair of trainers I bought late 2020. You know, like your £35 running trainers, you know, every day. And they're fucking like brand new still. That's 2025.
I have a pair
I still have Converse from fucking 2015, 2016.
I have a pair of Converse that I got because I was dying for. I remember I didn't buy a pair of khaki green Nike Air Max and regretted it ever since. So I finally got a pair of khaki green Converse. And by that stage, the notion of khaki green kind of went off me. And I don't really ever wear them. So they're like brand new. But they're really good quality because they've got the leather bits and all on them too. Like they're class quality.
Oh, you bought leather ones instead of
not full leather, but there's leather bits on them. But they're really, really good quality. And like they're not even here. They're down at my mum's.
Oh, right, yes. Well, there's like I bought probably. Fuck, it's mad to say it. 10 or 11 years ago, I didn't really wear dealer bits. Always wore trainers all the time. Converse more so than anything else.
See, I still wear the trainers for even around the yard because they're so comfy.
See, that's the thing, but you just need a good pair of boots.
Well, have a good pair of boots for work.
Yes, but I mean a good pair of work boots.
Yeah, I had the Max, but I should probably invest in a pair of Blundstones. Like, would you have like a pair of Blundstones?
I don't know.
I
Like,
just know I'm going to wear them and get them dirty. Like,
the only thing Blundstones aren't good on is obviously like your ice or your snow or that there.
Okay, well,
but apart from that, they're like I literally wear them every day.
I would literally like I was walking back, so didn't want to dive in it too much because don't want to incriminate myself. But I was walking back from leaving the Amarok off till Bliss to get a couple of things done, and when I was walking back because it's literally beside my work, and there was like a bit of clay in the road, and I thought I was going to break my ankle. There's so little grip on my boots, it's unreal.
I bet they're dress boots.
Yeah. I suppose a couple other final shouts then before we go. The Limited Slip Differences community on Facebook, even though Conor doesn't be on it.
No, like I do promise to post more.
It's actually, do you know what? It's actually quite enjoyable. It's the same names always popping up because it's like a lot of the listeners who would really like hone in on the podcast.
Would interact a lot,
and then it's nice to see like new names who you don't recognise coming up, being part of that, and you're like, over time it's like, okay, well, you'll hopefully get to know them, and then maybe if you meet them, I'll have recognised their name from liking a post or something or commenting something. That was the whole idea. Is so like even for us to kind of know who you are.
If we're ever dry with content, we can just ask, what would people like us to talk about?
Yeah.
And at least whenever they're listening to us, they
can. To be fair, we've so many guests lined up this year that I hope that's not a problem. But
well, it was one of the reasons why I said maybe. And ironically, the person that said to create it was myself. And
you don't use it?
Well, don't use anything.
Okay, well.
To be fair.
Huh?
I was
just going to say, I was going to keep the show rolling.
Alright. Well, I was literally about to say, well, fuck, you've screwed it on me. Well, with that all said and done, Michael, where can everybody follow you at?
I was going to ask you the same question. I am at Michael Scullin _ on everything bar Snapchat, which is at @mscullin. So SCULLIN.
Even though this last 10 minutes I have been explaining to people that there's no point in following me if you want to follow me, and it would be really appreciated, and that's nice. It's at Conor.Magoo and basically everything. I wouldn't be that active in much, to be honest.
I find Snapchat's actually a great way to promote stuff, to be honest.
You do?
Yeah.
There's only two people that get a Snapchat from me every day, and that's you and Porrick. And to be honest with you, it got to a stage where I was sending you one, opened yours the odd time, and then I just sent Porrick one because I was sending you one. That was it. And Porrick's went like a week without fucking any replies.
Yeah.
And then I apologised to him, to be fair, because I caught on. So
well, maybe
I used to be the best person for replying ever, and then it's funny when you get older, you get shit at it.
Can you come and help me with some tanker work?
What do you mean?
Help me with some tanker work.
What does that mean?
I don't think my tanker's big enough to do all the ground in all the limited time that I have.
When?
I don't know. When it's dry.
The last time Michael asked me to give him a help with some tanker work,
we used a cable tie to put on my spread plate.
No, it's not even that. It's the fact that
I have so much shit to fix, like.
It's the fact that we spent ages trying to get the tank mixed to realise we were just stupid as, and it was absolute pure luck that nothing blew off. To then realise that at 11 o'clock at night we started to spread the slurry, and there was 2 loads to do. Literally 2 loads to do.
That's the joys of summer, but I'm actually thinking of putting work lights in the tanker. So, because, don't laugh, for me, like,
I love the way, right, Michael rung me yesterday, for anybody that wants to know this story. No, not yesterday, sorry, today. It was today. And Michael spent 10 minutes, roughly, explaining and trying to convince me that a generator was a good buy to power a few things in his home house.
Was a great buy. Because we still had no electric.
And I went
at my home house.
What is it with you? Just fucking buy it then. You don't need to explain why you need it.
I don't know if you approved of my 2-way radios.
It's not that, right? It was you were trying to get me to buy them, right?
Still am.
You have the time at times during the year you could get away to do a bit of series drawing, and if you wanted to, you could help another contractor out.
Doesn't really happen, but if it ever did come up, yeah.
Well, you drew more series last year than I did.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, the boy I was supposed to be helping out this year, Darren, said, I think I'm doing all bills, and I went, oh. So.
Lovely.
Yeah.
It happens.
I don't mind. Like, I always wanted the trailer, and the trailer can sit in the shed. I don't care.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of putting work lights on because on the limited time that I have, evenings,
you're only spreading at 11 o'clock at night, and you can't see shit.
Yeah, pretty much. It means if you can go to 11 or 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you can spread away. And you get things done. I
personally stopped spreading
as soon as it goes dark.
Because
you can't see nothing.
We'll fuck that.
I know.
Because my bed does be calling for me.
Agreed, but if you have to then go to Cork the next day for work,
Well, I just have to. When you're going to Cork, I'm going to the Milking Parlour regardless. So
that's what I mean. Like, I don't have that flex. Like, that's where it would kick the flexibility that kicks me a bit. Like, if I have to be on site, if I'm told, right, you're for England next week, like, I can't not go to England. That's me away all week. I don't have the weeknights to do anything. That's the kicker for me. So it's like, okay, well then all Saturday and the Saturday night I'm going to have to be doing this, and whatever needs done Sunday or whatever has to be done. So I think I might put a set of like good work lights on it as well, and just wire them onto like another switch that goes onto the 7-pin plug. It needs lights anyway. There's no lights on it.
As long as it's not, going to put holes in it.
What do you mean?
The Coke can. You don't want to end up leaving it with a hole in it.
No. Shouldn't do. Shouldn't do.
Yeah.
So
hopefully not.
We call it to a close.
I think we probably will lie for.
Hopefully next podcast we'll be back in the studio as usual.
True, that is very true. Yes.
Right. All the best, folks.
Hopefully you've enjoyed this different type of podcast. We're warm for once.
Yes.
And the problem now at the minute is that warm that we're
starting to get sleepy.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, if things had been better, we could have recorded in the middle of the day.
I'm quite enjoying the heat, all the same.
Yeah. But that's something hopefully later down the line we can worry about for the new studio. But
thanks very much for listening, everybody. At Limited Slip Differences on all socials for the podcast. On YouTube, if you haven't seen them yet, look at Michael's 3-part video, or make the 3-part video on the Fiat
Turbo.
We have the Tully Rowan video up, so all Michael's work again, and obviously King of the Cone last year and all the rest. So
along
if you want
with all the podcasts, obviously.
Subscribe and like and comment and all that funky stuff, and on Spotify. Thank you for listening this long. I don't know how long his interview is, but hopefully Michael did a good job.
Right. All the best, folks.
On that note, bye-bye.
See you later.